5, 6, 7, 8.
Wow, honey, you're so good.
Oh no, now I'd lost count. How long had she been standing there for?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Can you teach me some moves?
I hesitated, but I didn't want to sound mean, so, sure, Carol, come in. I'll show you some of the basics. I did some simple moves for her to follow, but, oh man, she was awful. Seeing an out-of-shape, middle-aged woman attempting front lunges and high Vs isn't something you see every day. But I did appreciate that she was putting the effort into getting to know me. Oh, sorry. You must be wondering why I was calling my mom by her first name. Well, she's actually not my mom. She's my stepmom. You see, my mom passed away when I was 10. Then last year, when I turned 15, Dad started seeing someone again with help of a matchmaker. And he thought it was important for me to have a mother figure, and that's how we ended up marrying Carol. I enjoyed having bonding time with Carol, but it quickly became kinda uncomfortable. She watched me practice my cheerleading moves every night, started up conversations about the boys at my school, and she insisted on binge-watching TV series with me. Yeah, you all must know how awkward it is having an adult sitting next to you while there's some romantic kissing scene on the screen, right? Jesus, I needed my privacy. Then one time, I arrived home from school to find her in my room, going through my makeup.
Donna, sweetie, how exactly do you use this?
Okay, so this was a bit too much. She's crossing some lines here, messing around with my stuff without asking, but I couldn't bring myself to get mad at her either. You see, Carol is the definition of an ideal housewife. She's such a kind-hearted woman, and she always kept the house immaculate and cooked delicious meals. Maybe she spent so much time doing this that she didn't have any time to take care of her appearance? Hey, everyone deserves to feel beautiful, right? So I showed her how to apply makeup. Carol, you do so much for Dad and me, so I think it's about time you treated yourself. How about we go to the mall tomorrow?
I would love to.
I thought I was doing something nice for her. Little did I know, this was the start of something crazy. The next day at the mall, I took her into a clothing store where women her age shopped. I held up a nice blouse, but she shook her head. Then, to my utter dismay, she insisted we go into the Pull and Bear store next door. But Carol, that's for teenagers! But she still marched us in there. Then she pointed at an outfit and asked me if I could try it on for her. I wanted today to be about her, not me. But okay, as long as she's happy. I stepped out of the dressing room and twirled, and the store staff immediately complimented me. Then Carol suddenly turned to the staff and asked them to get the exact dress in size XL. What? Was she going to wear that too? Carol coyly stepped out from behind the curtain and asked, "So, what do you think?" I froze for a moment. I mean, look at her. She looked ridiculous, but I couldn't tell her that, so I reluctantly gave her a thumbs up. And just like that, Carol bought us both the exact same dress. But there's more. She suggested that we both wear them right now, while we were still in the mall. I spluttered out, shouldn't we save them for a special occasion? But her mind was made up. So, there we were, daughter and stepmom walking through the mall in matching dresses. I could feel all eyes were on us. We even ran into one of my friends, and she mistook Carol for my cousin. At least, that was until she saw Carol's face. That poor girl looked like she'd just seen Annabelle. Carol sure was flattered, as on the way home she beamed as she said,
"To think, your friend thought I was your cousin. I should dress like you more often. It takes years off me."
And I kid you not, she actually meant it. From that moment onward, she started dressing like a teenage girl. Or, to be precise, like me. Exactly like me. Apparently, I was the only one finding it weird in the house, because my dad said nothing. I needed to talk to her, or else someone at school would see me and make fun of me. So that evening, I went downstairs to see Carol sitting on the couch reading some magazine. I took a deep breath and said, Carol, can we?
Oh, hi, sweetie. Look, I'm choosing a cake for your upcoming birthday party. I hope that's okay.
Oh no, why is she always so sweet and kind? This made me feel so bad. She's doing so much for me, and all I do is complain. So obviously, I didn't bring up the subject of her copying my style. That's just trivial, right? Instead, I sat next to her and we talked about the birthday party. Then she showed me some pretty dresses on her phone and asked me to pick one for my party. I really like this one. Carol smiled.
Oh, that looks lovely. Great choice, sweetie. Imagine how stunning we'll look in these.
We? Oh no, not again. It had to be now or never to talk to her about this. Carol, I don't think we... But at that exact moment, my dad arrived back from work.
What are you two still doing up so late?
Before I could say anything, Carol ran over to him.
Donna and I are going to wear this dress on her birthday. What do you think? Great. Anything that makes my ladies happy.
I couldn't go through the humiliation of being dress buddies with Carol for one more time. On my special day, I needed to do something. I had a plan, but the timing had to be faultless. So, on the day of my party, when Carol was ironing her dress, I rushed in and told her that the delivery guy had just dropped off the wrong cake. Carol freaked out and ran downstairs immediately. Ha! It worked! Now, let's get started. And, well, 10 minutes later, as expected, we all heard a loud scream coming from upstairs. Dad and I rushed in and saw Carol sitting on the bed crying into the dress.
Darling, what's wrong?
She held up the dress.
Look! It's ruined!
There was an iron-shaped burn mark on it. Yep, you guessed it. It was all me. When Carol left the room, I turned the iron's temperature to max. My God, I really had to pinch myself trying not to laugh. But suddenly, Carol turned to me and in a serious voice said,
You need to change to another dress.
What? She can't be serious, right? It's okay, Carol. You can just wear another dress. I don't mind.
No, it's not okay. We've planned this. Go get the blue one that we both have.
Listen, I don't think we should dress the same. It's just weird. Then my dad jumped in.
There's no time to argue. The guests are already waiting downstairs. So Donna, go get changed.
Ugh, unbelievable. It was so embarrassing. All my relatives were complimenting us, but I knew they were really laughing inside. My friends, on the other hand, were sniggering and telling me we looked like a budget version of the Olsen twins. I thought that day was already a nightmare, but then it got extremely annoying when she even started to copy my behavior. One evening, my boyfriend Thomas came over and we were all eating pizza in the living room. I took a bite and said, OMG, delish! And the next thing I knew, Carol was quoting those words of mine as she sipped on her Diet Coke. Cringy! Then later, when Thomas had to leave, I walked him to the door and I squeezed his cheeks as a cute little goodbye, since we couldn't exactly kiss or anything in front of my parents, obviously. But guess what? Just under 5 minutes later, Carol suddenly sat closer to my dad and did the exact same thing to him. It was so weird, and my dad wasn't really impressed either. But here comes the worst part. A few days later, my friend had sent me a link to Carol's TikTok account. Oh my days! It was a video of my dad, and it had thousands of likes. Then suddenly I heard noises coming from downstairs.
Carol? Carol!
Carol scampered out of the kitchen looking clueless.
What's wrong, honey? What's wrong? My colleague just sent me a video of you playing a prank on me. Everybody has seen it. Even my boss, my customers, everyone! How am I supposed to go to work now? Ruining my career. Is that what you want? So much for being an accident.
Yep. The video I was talking about was this one, where Carol baked a fruitcake for my dad and then smashed his face into it. Then, when he looked up, he had 2 strawberry slices stuck to his eyes. He kind of looked like that creepy clown from the movie It. She uploaded it on her TikTok account, and it instantly got viral. I played that prank on my friend a while ago at our slumber party, but I didn't expect that Carol would copy it.
Get out of my house!
My dad's shout took me aback, while Carol burst into tears and begged.
Please, honey, don't do this. I'm sorry.
But my dad didn't listen and just told her to pack and stay out of his sight immediately. As she started to move, I grabbed her arm. Carol, wait. I know that you've been copying my clothing style and my behavior, And now, this TikTok. But you must have a reason for that, right? Carol nodded, so I calmed Dad down, and we sat down with her as she sobbed out,
My first husband often made fun of my dreary appearance. He even banned me from going to his family events, as he said the way I looked was embarrassing for him. Then eventually, he couldn't stand looking at me anymore, so he handed me the divorce papers. Now I'm with your father. I worry he too will get irritated by my looks, and I'll be abandoned again. But he adores you. Therefore I thought that if I tried to be more like you, then he'd adore me too.
My God, Carol's ex is such a jerk. How could anybody want to get a divorce just because their partner didn't have the best dressing sense? I hugged her tightly and said, Nobody's going to abandon you. You're a part of this family. But how about we find you a new style of your own, instead of copying mine, okay? Carol nodded at me with a light smile while still sniffling. My dad eventually calmed down, apologized for overreacting, and came over to join us in the hug. So, after that, I started helping Carol with the house chores so she had more time to spend on herself. I showed her how to style her hair, helped her pick out some stylish clothes, and sent her the links to some videos on makeup tips. Now she has her own chic image going on. She kind of reminds me of Martha Stewart. I always thought my stepmom was bonkers, but turns out everyone's got their own story, right? And we should get to know them first before jumping into any conclusion. Everybody should feel good about themselves, and no one should ever make them feel otherwise. This? Or this one? Ugh, this is such an impossible decision. It's my senior year, so I wanted this last prom to be the most memorable. I wonder which guy will ask me to prom first. Adam's cute, but he's so hot and cold with me. Then there's Devin, the school's hottest swimmer. Oh, and I also heard rumors that Ethan, the most popular jock in school, was planning to ask me to prom at the next baseball game. My buzzing phone broke me from my thoughts. It was a message from my friend Donna saying, Phoebe, have you seen the news? Lockdown starts tomorrow! Oh my God, this couldn't be legit. Could it? What about prom? Then I received another message from the prom committee.
Due to the current rule changes, unfortunately, prom's been cancelled.
No! Unbelievable! My prom! It was another message. Geez, I was getting sick of them. I hoped it would be Donna telling me this was all a joke and prom wasn't cancelled, but no. I glanced at it and saw a text message from Jacob, a classmate I never spoke to. That's weird. Curious, I opened the message. Hey, Jacob. So, what do you want to ask me?
Hi, and, can you help me model for a moment? I'm applying for the Art Institute in Chicago, and the application deadline is tomorrow. But I need to submit a drawing.
I'll be posing for you to draw? But I've never modeled before. This sounds super important. Shouldn't you ask a professional?
Well, don't worry. I already have all the ideas, and I think you are the most suitable person to model for me, as you're a natural beauty, and that will show in my work. Especially your beautiful eyes.
Okay then, if you say so. Let's do it. Jacob then instructed me how to pose. After that, he took out a piece of paper and started sketching carefully. Meanwhile, I was sitting there trying my best to help my friend by not moving. Now that I had time to really look at him, I think Jacob is really handsome. Especially when he's so focused on drawing like this. Why's it taken me 3 years of high school to realize this? Strange. How can such a good-looking guy be pretty much invisible in my class? Maybe it's because he's a little on the shy side?
Done. What do you think?
Wow! You're so talented! I like it. I like it a lot.
Really? When can we meet again? I'll give you this drawing.
Oh, I thought you were going to send it with your college application.
Give me a sec.
Just like that, he disappeared from the screen without even answering my question. After a while, Jacob returned with a picture frame in his hand. Then he put the picture he'd just drawn of me in it and hung it up in his room.
In the meantime, I'll hang it here, so it's safe and, well, I get to, see you every day.
Why did he say it like that? He's totally making me blush by now. What about your college application?
Actually, I submitted them already.
So, you tricked me?
I'm sorry, it's not like that. Actually, I wanted to ask you something else, but because I'm really nervous, I ended up blurting out that I wanted you to model for me instead.
So what exactly do you want to ask me? If you don't talk, I'll hang up.
Wait! I know it's canceled and all, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life not knowing your answer. So, if I asked you to go to prom with me, would you say yes?
I don't know. Only when I receive an official invitation will I consider it. I was giggling to myself at this point. Our class's shyest guy was being so genuine. But then he took a deep breath and said boldly,
Phoebe, will you come to prom with me?
Aw, I have to admit, I was really touched by Jacob's invitation. So I replied, yes!
Dinner's ready, hun.
Oh, that's my mom calling. I gotta go.
Yeah, you go eat. Thank you. I've received the answer I needed anyway.
I gave him my cutest smile and then ended the video call. Swoon? My heart was fluttering. After that moment, I couldn't stop imagining how great it'd be. Only if we weren't stuck in this stupid lockdown. Jacob would have escorted me to prom and, oh my, imagine how perfect we would look together. Such a pity. Now all I could do was just think about him all day. A few days passed, only Jacob hadn't contacted me. Not once. This made me antsy. I was constantly checking my phone. Then there were times I was so close to texting him first. But for what reason, though? I had nothing to tell him. Aha! Got it!
Phoebe? What happened?
Jacob, I've screwed up.
Calm down and tell me what's happened.
I almost burned the house down.
Huh? What? What did you do?
I forgot to turn off the stove while frying the eggs. You see? Does it look like crime scene evidence?
What have you done to the poor pan?
That worked a treat, as after that, we video chatted almost every day and talked about all kinds of things, from our dreams for the future to our favorite puddings. On the one rare day we didn't chat, I felt myself feeling restless. Is it possible that I was lovesick? One time, while I was standing in the garden talking to Jacob, Nancy, my gossipy sister, caught me. Expectedly, during dinner that night, Nancy told my mother that I had a boyfriend. Ugh, what a snitch. Why did my mother give birth to me and her as well? Fine. And FYI, my mom is one of those super strict types of parents.
Phoebe, what did I tell you? Before graduation, you can't date.
Mom put her fork down and gave me a serious look. But we're just friends.
No buts. From now on, focus on studying and stop contacting him. Understand?
Annoyed, I stormed off to my room. That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I longed to hear Jacob's voice so badly. I missed him. Then, at midnight, I somehow ended up picking up my phone and texting him. I know it's late, but are you awake? I'm so stupid. Of course he wasn't going to be awake at this. Oh, it's Jacob.
I'm awake. You want to talk?
So he called me, and we talked in whispers so no one overheard me. I told Jacob about the argument with my mom. He advised me not to be angry with her because she just cared about me. Then he said,
On your birthday this year, I'll come over and prove to your parents that you've chosen the right person.
Choose the right person? What do you mean?
I mean, will you be my girlfriend?
I was still feeling somewhat confused when he suddenly started singing.
But darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own. And in your eyes, you're holding mine.
I love that Ed Sheeran song. My heart melted with each word Jacob sang, and I found myself softly saying, I do. Oh my God, he's officially my boyfriend now. This was so exciting! I just wish I was back at school to show him off. We secretly chatted every day, and he was the ray of light in my boring days during the lockdown. But then one day, he didn't reply. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe he was busy drawing or something. But then, when the day was coming to an end, and I still hadn't received a reply from him, I started to freak out. Was he sick? Only at past midnight, he finally messaged me.
I'm sorry. I feel kinda down today, so I couldn't talk to you.
Oh no, why was he so sad? Hearing this, I couldn't be patient anymore. So I called him right away, over and over, but the only response was a long beep, then followed by a text a little later.
I don't want you to see me in this state. I'm sorry.
What was wrong? He was always such an optimistic guy. Something really terrible must have happened to make him feel like that. Feeling anxious, I continued to call him, until eventually he gave in and answered. Then he told me what was wrong. Lockdown was the final straw for his warring parents, and now they were getting a divorce. I felt so sorry for him. Oh, how I wished I could have run to him right away. He actually only lived a few blocks away from me, so we planned to sneak out to see each other in the park. From a distance, of course. The plan was that I would open the door on the sly to run outside, while Mom was in the kitchen.
Phoebe, what are you doing?
I...
Come inside and set the table. The food's getting cold.
My plan failed completely. I'm sorry, I couldn't get out. My mom caught me. A few minutes later, Jacob's reply showed up. Turned out he'd already snuck out and had been waiting for me at the park. I felt so guilty, so I called him at once. He tried to put on a smile, but I knew he was really bummed out, so I blew him a kiss to cheer him up. This really brightened him up. Then he said that as soon as lockdown was over, he was giving me a real kiss. Just like that, time went on, and we learned how to make the most of this relationship in the pandemic era. Everything was good until one day he told me some news that struck me like a lightning bolt. He'd received an offer letter from the art college in Chicago. He'd got in! Of course, Jacob was excited, and I was really happy for him. But Chicago was a whole different state, so I'd never get to see him. Jacob said he was still wondering if he should go or not, as he didn't want to leave me. Me neither, but how could I tell him not to go? Jacob, please go chase your dream. Don't give it up over a girl whose hand you've never held.
If I go, then what about us?
Just leave it. Whatever will be, will be. After that day, there were no more messages or calls from Jacob. Perhaps he was busy arranging things for college. I missed him so much, but I had to let him live his life. Then, on the same day Jacob left, I received a package. I took it up to my room and opened it. Inside was the painting which he had asked me to model for. It's really beautiful. The painting. Now how am I supposed to forget you when I have to look at this every day, Jacob? The city eventually came out of lockdown, and things were pretty much back to some kind of normal. It was just that I couldn't stop thinking about Jacob and how different things would be if he was still here. We hadn't spoken since that time we broke up. I guess it was easier this way, but it didn't stop it from sucking. And to make it even worse, today's my birthday, and all I could think about was him. I was sitting there trying to fake delight as my family brought me out a cake and sang me happy birthday. Hang on, who's that? Standing behind my parents? Oh my, it can't be! It's Jacob!
Oh, yes. I found this one loitering outside. He seems keen to see you, and, well, it is your birthday, so I suppose I'll let the no boys rule slide for today.
Mom smiled. I couldn't help it. I darted out of the chair and leapt into Jacob's arms. I asked him why he was here, and grinning he replied,
I have a promise to keep.
Then I introduced him to everyone, and being the perfect guy he was, he's really mature and friendly toward my family, and they love him. But soon the day ended, and he went to leave, so with reluctance, I walked him out to say goodbye. Jacob then held my hand and said,
Look, Phoebe, when I was away, I realized how much I like you. And if you have the same feelings, could we give this long-distance relationship a try?
Without giving me time to answer, he continued.
I'll try my best to contact and come back here often. I will never leave you feeling lonely. I promise.
His words were really touching, but... Jacob, I'm sorry. I don't think we can do long distance.
Why not?
'Cause I've applied to College Columbus in Chicago, and I got in. We're gonna be neighbors!
Sarah, it's about time you got married. What are you talking about? Get married? Not a chance. I'm still in school. Oh, give me a break. Marrying a rich guy will bring you more money than school ever will. Mom, I'm not like you. I actually like school. Now leave me alone. That was the conversation between my mom and I about 2 months ago. Well, look at me now. Here I am staying in one of the most luxurious villas in Boston. My name's Sarah, by the way, and I'm 16 and in high school. My life hasn't ever been normal. For starters, I don't have a dad, and my mom is totally irresponsible, choosing to spend any money we have on partying and men. Of course, she doesn't even have a job, so we rely on her latest fling to help support us. My mom has never really cared about me, so I just stay out of her life as well. She can do what she wants as long as I can do what I want, and what I want is to study really hard so that I can have a better life than hers. But as usual, she intervened in that plan, and 2 months ago she forced me to quit high school and get married. Obviously, I refused, and I even went on a hunger strike for a few days. But then one day she said, "Tomorrow, our two families will meet. If you don't rock up, I'll go to your school and tell them you're not coming back. But if you come, you can still go to school, at least until the wedding." Ugh, school. She's using what I love most against me, again, to force me to follow all of her ridiculous plans. Fine, I agreed. I mean, it was just a meetup. It's not like they could pressure me to get married right away, right? So the next day, I followed my mom to go meet Adam's family. I was shocked when I saw him. He was wearing a mask that covered half of his face, and he just sat there, not uttering a word, just staring at me without even blinking. Honestly, it was so creepy. His parents seemed nice, though, and they explained that he'd been in an accident when he was a kid, which had left him with a severe burn scar on his face. So he wore the mask to avoid scaring people off. I could see him watching me, waiting for my reaction. So I tried to smile back. I felt so bad for him. But at the same time, there was no way I wanted to spend my life with this guy. So I decided to put my plan into action. All I had to do was get his parents to disagree with the arrangement. So I acted as clumsy as possible. I wanted to give the worst first impression ever. As soon as the wine was poured, I leaned over and knocked his mom's glass all over her white dress. My mom looked mortified, but I didn't stop there. I ate with my hands and dropped food all over the table and kept chewing with my mouth wide open. But no matter how hard I tried, Adam's parents still seemed to like me, and I could see him slightly smirking at me. What did a girl have to do to put this family off? Clearly they were desperate. Near the end of the meal, they started discussing the engagement. Apparently, I'd move into Adam's family house so we could get to know each other. Then, if I could help Adam to feel less insecure, they'd let me finish high school before we had to get married. So didn't that mean they just wanted a friend for Adam? Someone to keep him company? It's not that bad. I guess I can do that then. So after the engagement, I moved into Adam's mansion. After school every day, I'd hang out with him and try to cheer him up. I'd play him my fave music, show him some epic movies, even try telling him jokes. But still, he barely smiled. He wasn't interested in anything I liked. Then one day I was struggling with my science homework when he passed by and decided to check out what I was doing. Suddenly, he started chatting away, and I realized how much he loved chemistry and physics. He even offered to help me with my assignments. He was so passionate about those subjects, and this was a win-win, because I'd finally found something we could discuss. He even started opening up to me. It was a start. I began to feel more comfortable around him. On one sunny day, I even asked Adam if he wanted to play a game of badminton. At first, he refused, as he didn't like being outside, but I wouldn't stop begging until he said, "Fine. Have you played this game before?" "No." "Okay, then let me show you." I was so excited to teach Adam. Although I'm not great at hand-eye coordination, I'd been playing badminton a lot at school, so I felt pretty confident. Finally, I'd found something I was better at than him. Ha! Okay, so I spoke too soon. After a few missed serves, He somehow mastered the shuttlecock and kicked my ass. Why did you say you've never played this before? 'Cause it's the truth. I don't believe you. Adam just shrugged and then left me lying on the ground. He had to be bluffing. It's impossible for anyone to be that good the first time they do something. Ugh. But it was fun, I guess. Adam was growing on me, but I couldn't be around him 24/7 as I had classes to attend. And no cap, I was extremely happy that I still got to go to school. Plus, at school something incredible happened. One day I was walking through the schoolyard when I tripped over a can. Just as I was about to faceplant on the ground, a hand appeared and pulled me back up. We made eye contact, and I swear it was love at first sight. His name was Brian, and he's super handsome. From that moment on, we texted nonstop every day, and it wasn't long before he asked me to be his girlfriend. And of course I said yes. I was smitten, but I obviously had to hide it from Adam and his parents. One night, I was on the phone with Brian when suddenly a text from my mom arrived. In fact, ever since the engagement, she hadn't even been in touch. Maybe she was too busy spending the huge amount of money that Adam's parents had given her. Sarah, I really need some cash, just around $500. Can you please ask Adam if he can lend me it? What? How have you already spent the money his parents gave you? Stop asking questions, just get me that money, okay? Ugh, money, money, money. All she cared about was money. She didn't even ask if I was okay. I want to ask, can you get me some money? Money? For what? I need to pay for my tutoring class. I haven't had money to pay for the past few months. How much do you need? About $500. Okay, I'll tell the butler he'll give it to you later. Phew. That was easier than I thought. But Adam didn't ask twice about it. Was it because that amounts just nothing to a rich guy like him? Anyway, at least he'd said yes. That would shut my mom up for a bit. If only. A few days later, she texted me again. This time she wanted $3,000. Was she kidding me? I just ignored her. But she kept bombarding me with texts and calls. It went on for days. She wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't give in, though, until this photo was sent to my phone. It was of me and Brian holding hands and clearly in love. Turns out my mom had been so desperate for the money, she'd turned up at my school one day to talk face to face, and that's when she saw us together. She then threatened me and said that if I didn't get her the money, she'd tell Adam's family what I was up to. This terrified me, because then I'd have nowhere to go, and I wouldn't be able to go to school anymore. I couldn't let that happen. I had no other choice but to keep asking Adam for the money with my lame excuses. From buying books, to a relative who was ill and needed treatment, you name it, I'd use it. Every time I asked Adam, he looked at me like he was worried about me and asked if I was okay. This made me feel even more guilty, because it seemed like he genuinely cared about me. To make up for it, I'd bake him cookies, and even knit a cute sweater for him as a birthday gift. But then, a few weeks later, he asked if we could talk. As soon as I walked into his room, he threw a bunch of photos at me. They were all of me and Brian. I couldn't believe it. Did my mother betray me? But that's not the case. He told me how he'd had someone follow me because he felt I'd been acting weird. Not only had he discovered I was dating someone, he'd also found out that I'd been lying about the money and giving it to my mom. He was so disappointed in me. Please leave me alone. I don't want to see you anymore. I was so worried I'd be kicked out of their house, but no one mentioned anything. His parents still chatted to me at dinner, and they seemed happy enough. Only Adam avoided me, which of course made me feel terrible. The only one I had to lean on right now was my sweet Brian. So after dinner one night, I decided to go over to his place. I really needed some comfort right now. But when I arrived outside, through the window, I saw another girl in his room. They started kissing, and I thought I was going to be sick. In a panic, I quickly crawled over and hid below his window to listen in. But aren't you a bit too close with that Sarah girl lately? Don't you dare. Don't worry, Pumpkin. It was all just for you. I noticed that she lives in a big mansion with personal drivers and all. Her family must be filthy rich. So I just wanted to be a good friend and help them spend those money. You know, and maybe that way I could get you the new Chanel handbag that you always want. Oh, really, honey? So, how's it going? Well, a dud. Seems like she's the stingy kind of rich girl. Ugh, keeping every single nickel all to herself. How was I supposed to believe what I'd just heard? My heart was shattered into pieces, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I stood up and put my face against the window. You're dumped! Brian looked so shocked to see me there, but I didn't wait to see if he had anything to say. I just ran home in tears and locked myself in my room. Sarah, open the door. Do you know how many days you haven't eaten for? Sarah, open the door. If not, I will send someone to break the door down. Oh God, are you okay? What's going on? Nothing. I'm sorry. Sorry for lying to you all this time. I didn't mean to. Suddenly, Adam hugged me and said, It's okay. Don't cry. Now can you just tell me what happened? In tears, I told Adam the whole story. From being used by my mother to being betrayed by Brian. Perhaps this is what I deserve for lying to you. Actually, if I were you, I wouldn't want to marry someone like me anyway. You're a great guy. As long as you have confidence in yourself and live with a more positive attitude, good things will happen to you, I promise. Even with this ugly face? I looked up at Adam and, oh my gosh, the burn scar on his face. It was worse than I thought it would be. I reached out to touch it. It must have been so painful. Can we start over? Keep helping me, okay? I looked at Adam, smiled and nodded. So after that day, I continued to stay at Adam's house and help him get out of the isolated, self-deprecating life he'd been living. Gradually, his attitude improved, and he even started taking a business course to get ready for taking over his family's company in the future. I also encouraged him to start taking off his mask. Love everything about yourself, including that scar. As for my mom, she's currently being detained for her illegal gambling. Yep, that's what she spent all that money on. She'll probably end up in prison, and even though this isn't what I want for her, she kinda deserves it. Oh, and about the wedding, we postponed it. Lucky for me, both Adam and his parents want me to go to college first and pursue my dreams. Once I graduate, we'll probably start planning our wedding, though, and it'll be truly out of love this time.
Hey, what exactly do you think you're doing? I know you stole my money. Give it back to me right now. Yeah, give it back to Sophie. That's her allowance. What money? I don't know about any money. I shrugged as I walked toward my bed, ignoring Sophie's furious face. After that, I had to listen to Sophie throw more accusations at me. Blah, blah, blah. I know it was only because I was a tomboy, so surely if a girl chooses to have short hair and wear baggy clothes, then she must be a thief. Poof! Eventually, I reached my breaking point. Quit with the accusations. I didn't steal any money. I didn't even know you had money. I know you took it. If you don't return it to me this instant, then I'm gonna tell Miss Hopkins. Her idle threats didn't bother me, so I just flopped down on my bed and played on my phone. Talk about a heavy atmosphere. Ugh. Then I saw them all frantically checking their phones and giving each other confused looks. So I took an earpod out and heard a phone ringing from over by Sophie. Isn't that your new phone, Sophie? Why don't you pick it up? What? No! Sophie stuttered, while Bella and Carly stared at her, all confused. I walked over to Sophie's bed, lifted the pillow, and yep, there was a brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max. So, Sophie, if there's nothing wrong with your brand new phone, then why did you feel the need to hide it so badly and not answer my calls? She nervously chewed on her nails, then blurted out, Fine, I spent all my allowance on a new phone. I knew my parents would be livid that I spent it so quickly, so I thought it'd be easier to blame you, since you're new and look kinda intimidating. Nice. I stared at her. You could have, found someone dumber to mess with, as I already see right through you and your dirty schemes. But whatever. Girls, I'm sorry. She gave Bella and Carly pleading looks. Please forgive me. They both shook their heads and told her that she'd have to ask Miss Hopkins, the dormitory supervisor, for a room change, else they'd tell everyone what she did. So Sophie angrily packed, then moved out. When the room was Sophie-free, Carly and Bella apologized to me, then helped me tidy up my stuff. I smiled at them. No worries, it's cool. After that, they wouldn't quit complimenting my clothes and style, and how smart I was. This was flattering and all, but I kept my chill exterior. That weekend, the school took us out on some woodland activity day. Our teachers organized a treasure hunt and divided us into groups. I ended up with Carly, Bella, and these 2 other girls. The teacher handed Bella the map, and she held it up the wrong way. "I think this map's broken." I chuckled, took it off her, then using the first clue we'd been given, I quickly found out that we needed to walk 100 steps east and find a tree by the lake. Turns out, all of the other clues were as easy peasy as the first one. And soon we'd finished the game. In first place. Everyone was gawping and clapping at me. Poof, it's just a piece of cake. We were on our way back to the dorm room when Carly sidled up to me and said, "Hey Sam, you did great today." "Oh, it's nothing. Puzzle games are my cup of tea." "Hey, I have an idea. Let's form a detective team, as our school still has a few cases unsolved." "That's a good idea. With the Sherlock Holmes minds of ours combined, nothing is impossible." Then the 3 of us looked at one another and laughed. I gave a nod in agreement. I mean, a detective agency sounded kind of fun. And that's how the CSI detective team was born. It stands for Caroline, Samantha, Isabel. Of course. At first, everyone laughed at us because they thought this group was nonsense. But then, the math exam was stolen, and through our expert investigation skills, we linked it to none other than Aubrey, the top student in the class. Hey, we even caught the creep who broke into the school to spy on the girls. And it was only a matter of time till everyone began to recognize our talents. One day, the 3 of us were standing at the locker when a series of message alarms rang out. It turns out that our school's confession page has a new post claiming that Liam, the most popular boy at school, was seducing, then defrauding numerous girls. They also posted some of the love notes Liam had slid into the girls' locker to manipulate them into giving him money. The message showed, "I can't wait to take you on a special date, but my debit card won't work. If you lend me yours, I'll make our date unbelievable. I promise. X." OMG, this is unbelievable. At that moment, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around to see a sullen-looking Liam standing there.
"Please, you've gotta help me. These are all false accusations. Please help me find out who did this."
And of course, all of us nodded immediately. No one would refuse to help a boy as cute as Liam. Oh, I mean, we're the school's famous detective team, so how can we ignore this? Right?
Yeah, right. I rolled my eyes. I didn't blame Carly for liking Liam. I mean, everyone likes him. I guess even I did. Bella then interrupted my daydreaming.
"Come on, guys. Let's focus on our job. I think the person who did this must have some kind of grudge against Liam."
Everyone agreed and started investigating, which led me to sneak into Liam's dorm and rifle through the bin. Bingo! I found a scrunched-up piece of paper with the messages Liam had supposedly sent to his victims, scrawled in green ink. Then, who should just so happen to have green smudge on their hand but James, one of Liam's roommates. It turns out, James did this just because he was jealous of Liam's popularity. How petty. Well, this success certainly made the detective group more credible. We actually had our own fan base, and I was always overhearing other kids talking about us in a good way. Best of all, Liam was so grateful to us that he started hanging out with us more. We even went to the park with him one weekend, and he bought us all ice creams. Carly kept on flicking out her hair and giving him doe-eyed looks, while being the chilled girl I am, I kept it at a smile and a thanks. The only one who didn't seem impressed by Liam was Bella, who took the ice cream, forced a polite smile, then ignored him. Oh well, at least this meant one less competitor for his affection. One day, we were having lunch when we overheard the girls at the next table talking about how a girl saw a ghost in the old chemistry lab, and it scared her so badly, she refused to leave her bedroom for days. According to the others, the legend of this ghost had been around for a long time. Now, this sounded like a job for the CSI, but Bella immediately folded her arms and shook her head. "No, I'm not going. There are no ghosts in this world." I firmly said, "Yep, so we have to go and clear this up." But no matter how much Carly and I tried to persuade her, she point-blank refused to go. "Don't you know about the curse?
If anyone goes looking for this ghost, they will be cursed and have bad luck for the rest of their lives.
Didn't you just say there are no ghosts in this world? So why does that dumb curse bother you?
Actually, I'm afraid of ghosts.
I looked at Bella and tried not to laugh. Okay, so you stay in the room. Then me and Carly went to discuss plans for the evening. We were hiding in the corner of the chemistry lab. Jeez, it was boring in here, and I was kinda hungry. I should have brought snacks. Suddenly, a cold wind blew past us. It made me all goose-pimply. Carly shook my arm and whispered,
"Sam, let's go back to the dorm."
"Shh." I heard something. Footsteps. Then I felt a touch on my shoulder. I looked at Carly. Then we both screamed and bolted for the door. Thud! We hit something and fell to the floor. I scrambled to get up and saw Carly with her eyes closed and praying.
Please, ghost, please forgive us."
"What are you doing here this late?" I looked up. It turned out to be a frowning Miss Hopkins. Yep, we both ended up getting a week's worth of detention for sneaking around at this hour. Ugh. After Miss Hopkins gave us another lecture and escorted us back to our dorm, Bella looked at us from her bed and said,
"I told you that you'd both end up cursed, didn't I?"
I snorted. I mean, a curse was nonsense, right? But then weird things started happening to me and Carly. My history assignment disappeared 10 minutes before the deadline. Carly went to put her sports kit on and found it covered in mud stains. And our personal items kept on disappearing, then reappearing in weird places. Worse still, the rumor of the detective team being cursed spread very quickly. Enough was enough. I needed to investigate this so-called curse and get to the bottom of it. I told Bella and Carly what I planned to do, but they didn't seem convinced.
"No, what if something bad happens? I'm never going back there."
"Sam, you shouldn't go there either." Okay, chill. I won't do it. It's just an idea. Calm down." That's what I told them. But the thing is, I don't give up easily, and I needed to figure out what was going on. So that night, I snuck out of the room and went to the lab alone. The hallway leading to the lab was so dark and quiet that I could hear my own breathing. Then suddenly, I saw a dark figure standing in front of the lab door. I tiptoed over. Then I heard a voice.
"Did anyone see you?"
So ghosts can talk now? But wait, why is this voice so familiar? I shone my phone flashlight at it. Bella? And Liam? Bella startled.
"Listen to me first. It's not what you're thinking."
Oh my God, had my friend been betraying me all this time? I immediately turned away and stormed off. Bella tried catching up with me to explain, but I didn't want to hear it. It was her all along. She'd played those sneaky tricks on Carly and me so we thought we were cursed and wouldn't go back to her and Liam's secret rendezvous place. Back in the room, I told Carly what had happened, and we decided to ignore Bella. That's what she deserved. One day, we were eating lunch when Bella came over. Both of us were about to leave, but Bella hurriedly said, "Please give me a chance to explain." "There's no need to explain. We know what you did."
"I know I messed up, but it's only because I'm afraid you guys will react like this, and I didn't want to lose our friendship."
I put down the tray and reluctantly sat down.
"I've been dating Liam for a while, and we were going to go public, but then I could see that you both liked him, and I was worried you'd be mad at me, and our detective team would disband." "God, you're such an idiot. Do you think we're that selfish?"
"So yeah, we have a bit of a crush on Liam, but if you told us you were dating him, we would have been cool with it." Hearing that, Bella looked embarrassed. Then she gave a reconciling smile. Then we all hugged each other and promised that from now on, there would be no more secrets between us. And of course, the CSI detective team is still active, and now even has a hot new boy member. Yep, you guessed it right. It's none other than Liam.
I'm so nervous. You see, today is my first day of school ever. That's right. I'm Heather. I'm 15 years old, and I've never stepped foot inside of a school before. This is because my dad's a scientist and my mom's a writer, so they really cared about my education and worried that the elementary and middle schools in our town wouldn't be good enough, so my mom homeschooled me. Honestly, it was great. I really enjoyed learning about all kinds of different topics, especially literature. But then when I watched TV shows about high schools like The Kissing Booth or High School Musical, I felt a pang in my chest. I was missing out on so many things like having friends and talking to boys. I desperately wanted what those girls on TV had. So I begged my mom to let me go to high school. It took a lot of persuading and fake tears, but she agreed eventually. I was so excited! Finally, I'd get to experience school firsthand instead of living it vicariously through my favorite TV characters. Oh my god, what should I wear? What would I talk about? How would I make friends? This was actually happening! I could barely sleep the night before, and instead, I took the whole night to prepare myself. This was an important milestone in my life. So here I am, walking down the street to the bus station. Whoa, I've never seen so many people my age before. This is like a dream come true. I spotted an empty seat next to this girl, so I walked over with a smile. Excuse me, can I sit here? The girl looked me up and down, rolled her eyes, then put her bag on that seat. Sorry, it's already taken. Okay, that's fine. I'll sit alone in the back then. No problem. The girl must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed or something. But, well, turned out it wasn't just the girl on the bus who'd gotten out of bed the wrong way. Because as soon as Mrs. Hickson, my English lit teacher, introduced me to everybody in class, I could see that everyone was giving me weird looks too. Were they making fun of me? But why? Did I have jam on my face? Mrs. Hickson showed me to my seat and the class began.
By now, you've all had plenty of time to finish reading The Great Gatsby.
Aw, I adore that novel.
Throughout the novel, Fitzgerald continuously references a green light that Gatsby keeps on reaching for. Can anyone tell me what the green light symbolizes?
I looked around, expecting to see everybody raise their hand. But to my shock, they were all staring down at their desks to avoid eye contact with Mrs. Hickson. Huh? But why? This was so easy. Suddenly, Mrs. Hickson said,
No one, huh? Well, how about you, Kelly?
Everybody turned and looked at a girl who was adjusting her fake eyelashes in her compact mirror. Kelly continued fiddling with her eyelashes as she replied, doesn't a traffic light have a green light? So, duh, it means that he can cross the street. What? I burst out laughing, but then everyone turned to look at me. Oh, snap. Why was I the only one laughing? I mean, her answer was totally hilarious. Mrs. Hickson walked towards me. Oh no, was I in trouble?
Heather appears to be the only one here who understands why Kelly's answer was ridiculous. Can you explain this to your classmates?
The color green in itself illustrates the idea of greed and money, being a symbol of Gatsby's desire for Daisy. Gatsby already has everything anyone could dream for, but still, he is chasing after this light, or in other words, chasing after the love of his life, Daisy. Mrs. Hickson gave me a satisfied smile, patted me on the shoulder, and then she said,
That's correct. Very good, Heather.
Suddenly, someone coughed out the word, Nerd! Everybody started to laugh. Seriously? How could they laugh at this, but not Kelly's foolish answer?
Quiet!
Mrs. Hickson then turned to Kelly and said,
Perhaps if you used your eyes to actually read a book, instead of only using them to wear fake eyelashes, then Heather here wouldn't need to help you.
Kelly glanced over at me, so I smiled at her. But, why was she giving me a dagger look? Did I do something wrong? After class was over, I was sticking cute pictures in my locker when Kelly and her two friends, Samantha and Brittany, appeared next to me. Heather, right? Yeah, that's right. Oh my god, your sweater is... Oh, do you like it? My mom... So ugly. Why are you even wearing one? It's not even cold. Is your mirror busted or something? Why else would you choose to wear such an awful outfit? Then the three of them started to laugh. What do you mean? I dress just like Jess in New Girl. She looks amazing, doesn't she? This made them laugh even louder. While I was still feeling confused about what just happened, a girl named Taylor walked over. Hi, I overheard what you were talking about. Actually, New Girl ended a few years back, so her style is kinda outdated. Try watching Emily in Paris. That's the trend nowadays. Oh God, I didn't think of that. No wonder the girl on the bus. Oh wait, no wonder everyone at school was giving me awkward looks. They must be thinking I came from the past or something. And you should be careful. Kelly and her gang like to tease others, and I think you're their new target. Oh, so Kelly's stare earlier in class wasn't just a regular stare. But so what? Thanks, but I'm not afraid of them. I know this type of mean girl. They're all bark and no bite. So that night, I binge-watched Emily in Paris. It's très chic. I studied the fashion style and mixed up some outfits. I looked at myself in the mirror and, oh my, I really did look different. The next day at school, no one was giving me funny looks. How about that? Taylor's advice was really helpful. By the end of the first week, I'd established myself as most of the teacher's favorite student. It sounded great, right? But trust me, it wasn't. Every time a teacher praised me, Kelly and her friends gave me dirty looks. Then I found a note stuck to my locker that said, "You weirdo." Right at that moment, Kelly and her friends walked past me giggling. In anger, I ripped off the note and told them, "When you're leaving mean comments at my locker, at least write them correctly. Weirdo is missing an R." They immediately stopped laughing and rushed off so that nobody knew it was them. Man, they were so annoying. High school wasn't turning out how I expected it to be. I thought I would be one of the cool kids, not the one being teased. Ugh! Then word got out that I used to be homeschooled, so Kelly began making jokes like, "Did your parents make you stay at home because you're a freak?" Well, at least thanks to homeschooling, I don't come up with dumb answers in lit class. I snapped back. She stopped laughing and gave me this dumbfounded look. After that, they still carried on with their immature jokes at every given opportunity, but I tried my best to ignore them. But one day, they took it too far. I came to class and saw a big character drawing on the blackboard. It was me! Oh my God, Heather, your portrait looks amazing! And the whole class burst out laughing. Ugh, how dare she! You messed with the wrong girl this time, Kelly. That afternoon, I went home and was persistent to find a way to get payback on the mean girls. Bingo! I took out my laptop and began frantically working. After just one night, I managed to hack all their social media accounts, including their iCloud, and found a lot of good stuff. So the next time they mess with me, I'll be prepared. And it didn't take long until Kelly's friends stopped me in the hallway again. Ugh, could your skirt be any longer? Yeah, your grandma called. She wants her clothes back. Suddenly, everyone gathered around us to see what was going on. Good timing. Now we had an audience. Let's give the mean girls a taste of their own medicine. Beautiful hair, Samantha. Tell me, how often do you have to dye it so that nobody knows you're actually a redhead? What did you say? Oh, and Brittany, nice nose job. What? Everybody shockingly turned to look at Samantha's beautiful blonde hair and Brittany's nose. How? Brittany stuttered out before she grabbed Samantha's arm and they fled the scene. Yep, I've learned all about their embarrassing past through the pictures I've hacked last night. After that, Samantha and Brittany didn't dare to bother me, but the three of them were still teasing other people. Then I couldn't hold my frustration anymore when I saw them making fun of Taylor. Hey, leave her alone! Kelly turned around smirking. Didn't your parents teach you that it's rude to interrupt people when they're talking? Or do they have weird opinions on that, too? Oh, so that's how she wants to do it. Fine by me. Bring it on. Well, talking of parents, how are your parents doing, Kelly? Oh, wait, aren't they getting divorced? Kelly's grin immediately disappeared and was replaced with a look of complete and utter dread. Then she just ran away without saying anything, leaving her friends shocked as well. That's right. I saw a really long private post about her parents getting divorced on Facebook. That must be her way to express her thoughts. But her bad. It kinda backfired. After the mean girls left, Taylor thanked me and some of the other students gathered around me and praised me for standing up against Kelly and her clique. From then on, the mean girls avoided me like the plague. And just like that, I went from the nerdy homeschooled girl to the cool, popular girl who had the guts to stand up against the mean girls. It felt incredible. Then one day, I went to the bathroom during a class, and I heard someone in the stall crying. She was talking on the phone. "Please, Mom, don't get divorced. Can't you and Dad try to make it work? For me?" Oh man, could it be Kelly? As I was washing my hands, the stall door opened, and just as I thought, a red-eyed Kelly walked out. As soon as she saw me, she wiped away her tears and gave me a dirty glare. At that moment, I didn't feel good. I felt the complete opposite. I never realized that it was so hard for her. Making her feel bad didn't make me feel good. It made me feel bad too. "Kelly, I'm sorry about your parents." But she just snorted, then went to leave. I grabbed her arm. "Please, Kelly, I didn't mean to hurt you." Kelly looked me in the eyes and said, "But you did!" "I know. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking straight." I kept apologizing to her, and after a while she eventually said, "Well, I suppose I was kinda mean to you too." We ended up talking, and she told me that she teased people to make her feel better about her family situation, which she was struggling to deal with. So I opened up to her about how nervous I was about starting school. We actually had a great talk, and the air was cleared between us. So, you see, from that moment on, things between me and the mean girls were great. Oh, wait, they aren't the mean girls anymore, just simply Kelly, Samantha, and Brittany. They learned that their actions towards me and other students weren't cool, and they finally understood how it felt like being laughed at, so they don't do it to anyone else anymore. So, in the end, high school turned out to be pretty amazing, just like I imagined it to be, but even better. Holy baloney! Who is that? This guy was next level hot. And there's more. As I neared him, he didn't run off looking afraid. Seeing me dumbfoundedly gasping, Scarlett elbowed me. "Wake up, chicka, we're late." She giggled as she dragged me to class. I saw it. Never thought I'd see the day that Margot the troublemaker would go all gooey-eyed over some boy. Scarlett teased me. I blushed and was completely tongue-tied, eyes looking around awkwardly. "It's a shame you're basically a walking, talking boy repellent." Yeah, right. I lowered my head to think, and when I looked up, Scarlett was texting, probably some cringe overload message to her boyfriend Keith. I rested my chin on my hands and stared out of the window as I found myself daydreaming about that cute mystery guy. "What time do you call this? Are you trying to get me kicked out of this place for covering for you again?" So's. I had something super important to do with Alfie. Important, huh? So I could end up in trouble for covering your butt because you want to pull some lame prank with that loser? Nuh-uh. How many times do I have to tell you? We only pranked him once, and that jerk totally deserved it. About that jerk, he's the captain of the basketball team, and Alfie's my friend. Okay, he might look a bit intimidating, but he's a nice guy. But that jock not only knocked Alfie out with his basketball, he also took his money out of his pocket when he was down. We weren't going to let him get away with this. So that night, we snuck out and poured greasy cooking oil all over the field, which made the whole team slip and fall again and again. It was hilarious. Unfortunately, word of our involvement reached the principal, so Scarlett had to call her dad to help me. Okay, so this wasn't exactly the first time Scarlett had saved me. She only got mad as she had to save Alfie's butt too, even though she hates him. Come on, I'm sorry. Would you mind? It's midnight and we need to sleep. Shut up, Miley. No one asked you. Fine, go to bed and shut up so we can actually get some sleep. Poof, those girly girls. Wake up, princess. The class is over. I groggily got up and followed Scarlett like a zombie to the cafeteria. But then I came to an abrupt halt. There, standing on the corner of the hallway, was that handsome guy. What on earth is going on? I've asked Keith to do some research. Now, do you want my help or not? I still froze and couldn't say anything. OMG, I'd never felt so nervous like this before. I nodded while holding her arm. Wow. So all it took for the mighty Margot to turn into a timid wreck was some dude? Oh, and by the way, he's called Jared, and he's studying classical music. Very elegant. Huh? I blurted out. Classical music? This sucks! I mean, how's a girl like me ever gonna reach his level? Don't worry, I'll help you. Then she changed her attitude. On one condition. You know what? Scarlett demanded me to stop hanging out with Elfie, 'cause it was not good for the girly image I needed to get Jared's attention. Plus, I wouldn't be allowed to pass the dorm's curfew. If I broke these conditions, then she wouldn't help me anymore. Fine, I agree. Sorry, Elfie, you'll just have to carry on without me. Keith befriended Jared and asked him to come over to our school again to check on those pianos in the music room. When there's an emergency, he will leave Jared with me, who it turns out is struggling with the piano. Genius! As you can see, this plan is going well so far. Just this dress was really suffocating me. Ugh. But being around Jared seemed to suffocate me even more. Luckily, he was quite friendly, so we started talking easily, and now he's playing for me. Do you have any plans after school? No, not yet. I'm about to go to this music cafe in town. Would you like to join me? OMG! Of course I said yes! Does this count as a first date? We actually had a lot of fun. I was in seventh heaven. On our way back, I was startled when I saw Elfie across the street. Noticing me with Jared, Elfie glared at me with this maddened, wide-eyed look. I gave him the shush sign and looked away. No surprises. My phone beeped. You blew me off to hang out with that sissy boy? And what's with your clothes? Jeez, Elfie was angry for sure, but I couldn't do this right now. I'd promised Scarlett I wouldn't talk to him anymore. So I ignored the message and walked straight past him. As soon as I arrived back at the dorm, the girls cooed around and asked me about the date. They seemed so happy for me. So, when's the next date? He asked me to come over to his school tomorrow, and then we're gonna have dinner. Ah! The girls screamed in unison. Surprising, as I didn't think these grumpy girls cared this much about me. I was so excited about the date, so I arrived early at Jared's school to find him practicing with another girl. I walked into the room with a smile on my face, and Jared introduced me to her, Maeve. Then he told me to wait there and left to go to the bathroom. This Maeve girl sniggered, then looked me up and down and said, Give it up. An unrefined girl like you doesn't deserve him. Huh? What on earth did I ever do to her? Angry, I knocked over her music sheets. She picked it up, then sternly said, Just you wait. I won't let you get away with it. Then she shoved past me and stormed off. Then, at dinner, I couldn't help it. So, that Maeve? Our parents are very close, so we've been friends since we were little, and now we both study music. She seems really into you. I'm not so sure about that. We're just friends. So, he doesn't like that Maeve girl? I guess. Just forget about her. I have a very important date with Jared, and I need your help. Right at that moment, a call from Alfie arrived, but Scarlett was sitting right next to me, so I couldn't pick up. After a few calls, he texted me. You gotta help me this time. I can't do it by myself. Oh, God help me. I didn't have the heart to abandon my friend. So, I decided to sneak out and go see Alfie. Okay, so it's not what you think. Those times I was late weren't because we were up to no good. We've been fixing up this abandoned house for these homeless kids instead. This time, one of those kids, Kevin, had a serious fever. I had to help Alfie borrow some money and take Kevin to the hospital. I tried to be deadly quiet as I crept into the dorm room, but I swear Scarlett is the lightest sleeper in existence. And sure enough, she was there waiting for me. Oh, hi Margot. It's nice of you to join us. Yeah, sorry. It was, an emergency. You just can't help yourself, can you? You broke our agreement to go hang out with that thug friend of yours. I'm not helping you ever again. This sucked. It looked like I was on my own. This is it. My big date with Jared. His dad's the conductor here, and from what I can gather, that's a massive deal. Without Scarlett to help me find the right dress for this event was a nightmare. Oh man, everyone looked so luxurious and classy. I felt like a sore thumb. This obviously wasn't the world I belonged to. But Jared's gentle smile soothed me down a lot. But soon, Maeve was coming towards us. Ugh. Jared, darling, congrats! I think this concert will be amazing. Oh, it's you again. Nice dress. Ugh! She was really pulling on my leg. But stay calm. Now breathe. Breathe. Then they both talked about Mozart, Beethoven. I didn't understand a thing. As well as the whole concert, I didn't understand either. Afterward, Jared led me over to his parents. OMG, this was scary. I gave them the bouquet of flowers I've prepared and congratulated them on the concert. Luckily, they both seemed really friendly and were really content with my gift. But then Maeve appeared and hugged Jared's mom.
Jared, it's lovely to be around such polite girls.
Smirking, Maeve replied, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Margot here likes hiding her true personality. Okay, so I may have failed to keep my cool and blurted out some bad words. Oops. Jared and his parents looked shocked by this, but before I could try and rectify the situation, Maeve pulled out her phone and waved around a photo of me with Alfie. I wanted to explain, but I just ended up stuttering out a load of nonsense. In the end, Jared pulled me aside and told me,
I think it's best if you just leave.
I ran out of there close to tears. Worse still, I couldn't run in this dumb dress. I'd lost Jared, and it was past curfew. So if I went back now, Scarlett would get mad at me. So I decided that I wasn't going to go back. Nope. Instead, I was going to run away. I'd been staying here for a couple of days. I feel safe here, and Alfie bought me some clothes and food. Ugh, why is she here? I wasn't in the mood for a lecture. But to my surprise, she rushed over to me and wrapped her arms around me. How could you just leave me like that? Have you any idea how worried I've been? Anyway, Alfie told me everything. I'm sorry for misjudging you. She pulled away. You do stink, though. There's one more person who wants to see you, Margot. I looked at him with confusion. Then at the door, it was Jared. Margot, when I saw that photo, I was shocked. I thought it must be some joke to you, and you were really with Alfie. But then I couldn't stop thinking about you. Now I've spoken to Scarlett and Alfie. I know better. I like you, Margot. The real you. And I don't want you to think you have to change for me. Do you think you can give this idiot another chance? I hesitated, pretending that it was something I had to think about. Then smirking, I shouted out yes and rushed into his arms. So, what now? Well, I'm back in the dorm, and yep, I still sneak out, and yep, Scarlett still covers for me. Jared and I are an official couple, and he's even helping me with a fundraiser concert to help out the homeless kids. So, I guess that this tough girl is actually not so tough after all. Oh, it's been more than a year, and this place is still exactly the same, I thought to myself. Suddenly, I noticed a man walking in front of me. He looked so familiar. Could it be him? Alex! I rushed after him and grabbed his arm. He's so gonna catch these hands. But as he turned around, oops, I realized it wasn't Alex, but a total stranger. Martin Henderson? I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even look him in the eyes. Sorry, I murmured as I ran towards the elevator. This must be fate. We meet again. I was standing outside the building when I heard a voice. I turned around and there he was, the guy I met this morning. Hi, I'm Martin, he said, and reached out to shake my hand. Before I could react, I heard someone calling me. It was Tom, my best friend from Vietnam. I had a lunch date with him, but I'd almost forgotten. Oh, I'm Lindsay. Great seeing you. Then I quickly said bye to Martin and rushed over to Tom. Lindsay, how's your new job going? And who is that guy back there? I felt so sad as he asked me this. I don't actually know him. He just looks so much like someone from my past. Tom rolled his eyes. Someone from your past? Oh, come on. Don't tell me it was that pathetic boyfriend of yours who abandoned you in Vietnam. Well, what could I say? Despite what Alex did to me after all this time, I still couldn't get him out of my head. Tom could clearly sense that as he said, Honestly, Lindsay, you need to get over him. He was a total jerk. Suddenly, all of the memories of our time together came flooding back. A year ago, Alex and I had gone on an adventure to Vietnam together. We'd been planning it for ages, and it would be a long one, since we wanted to explore the country as much as possible. At first, everything was going to plan, but then, one morning, a stupid argument led us to a big fight that got Alex so angry that he up and left. I thought he just needed to blow off some steam and then he'd be back, so I just carried on with the trip on my own in the meantime. But days quickly passed, and there was no sign of him. And ever since then, I haven't seen or heard from him. It's like he just disappeared into thin air. Anyway, I had to pay for everything on the trip by myself, including stuff that we reserved for two. So I quickly ran low on cash. And what's left in my bank account couldn't afford me a trip back home either. So I asked my mom if I could borrow some. And that's when she told me what had happened. My family was in huge trouble due to some food scandal at their restaurant. The case was really serious, and they'd gone totally bankrupt. So my mom just told me to stay put in Vietnam for a bit, until things had calmed down. Well, that's how I ended up being stuck in Vietnam for a whole year, and the rest is history. I turned to Tom and smiled. He'd been so good to me. Tom, thank you for helping me find a job back then. You're a lifesaver. Tom grinned and said, No, I should thank you. Actually, you're the reason why I strive to be here in the U.S. getting my master's degree. And you know what? I still want to be the one by your side. Always. Geez, it was a bit awkward. I didn't know what to do but force a polite smile. Yeah, I could tell he had some sort of feelings for me, but I only considered him as a best friend. And look, at the moment, I had enough on my plate already. So here I am now, at the company that used to belong to my family to help my parents solve this scandal with the restaurant. I know the claims aren't true, and I'm determined to help them figure it out so they can get their business back. Until then, I have to deal with working under the new CEO, Mr. Garcia.
Well, well, hello, precious princess of the Stewart family.
Oh, Mr. Garcia, it's been a long time not seeing those greedy eyes.
What an honor for us to have the daughter of the former CEO as an employee.
I forgot to mention, but guess what? That rude man just happens to be Alex's uncle. So yeah, that's been fun. And there's something I just can't get out of my head. Alex's disappearance happened at the exact same time as my family's business collapsed. Coincidence or... I'd get to the bottom of it though. Ever since then, I put a lot of effort into my work, hoping to find some clues. But Mr. Garcia just never fails to give me endless trouble. Luckily, Martin was by my side. Yep, that's right. That guy I'd bumped into on my first day of work. He'd been so supportive, even bringing me dinner when I work overtime. I mean, how sweet. And the more time I spent with him, the happier I became. There was just something so familiar about him. Tom, however, wasn't happy about this. He'd applied to be an intern at our company, but he worked in the files control department. Tom was so rude to Martin every time they bumped into each other, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. One time, Martin had offered me a lift home, and Tom forced me to go with him instead, saying it would be safer. He was being so immature. But I didn't have time to focus on that, because there were bigger things at stake. One day, I found out there was a clue that could lead me to the truth. A top-secret document that was kept in the files control department. It contained all the business activities from before my family went bankrupt, and also the deals of how Mr. Garcia went about taking over the company. I needed to get to this document. However, there was just one problem. The only person who could access the computer where this document was stored were members of Alex's family. Big problem, right? Anyway, one night, Tom and I were out to dinner, and he was acting really weird. Suddenly, he said, "Lindsay, you should stay away from Martin. There's something shady about him." This annoyed me. "Tom, I don't get it. What's your problem with him?" "Please listen to me first." Then, he told me what he'd seen. One night, he'd gone back to work as he'd forgotten his phone, and he happened to see Martin trying to access top-secret documents. "Request access," Martin had said. "Kindly provide the access code." The server responded. "Alexei Joseph Garcia," he said confidently. And then the iris scanner started working. "Welcome, Mr. Garcia. Access granted." Tom had watched all of this from behind the door quietly, and with just a few clicks, Martin had successfully accessed all the top-secret files without a problem. Then he'd quickly left through the back entrance. I couldn't believe it! If it was only the Garcia family who had access, how had Martin done this? And how did he know Alex's full name? Well, I needed to pay more attention to this guy. At least he'd gotten the file anyway. That was good enough for me. I had to get it from him. A few days later, I pretended my laptop was broken and asked if I could borrow his to send a few emails. I quickly checked his files, but couldn't find anything. Where could he be keeping them? Then one day, I saw him slip a USB drive into his bag. Well, that's suspicious. Maybe that was what I needed. That afternoon, I asked him out for coffee, and then I decided to drop my phone so that I could find a way to reach into his bag and get the USB. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. I ended up knocking over my coffee cup, and it went all over Martin's sleeve. He always wore long sleeves, even on roasting hot days. But of course, the coffee had gone everywhere, so he quickly pulled up his sleeve. And that's when I saw it. A scar running up his arm. I gasped. "How did you get this scar? It looks exactly like my ex's." Alex had the same scar. Before I could say anything more, Martin snapped and said, "What scar?" Then he quickly pulled his sleeve down. "Don't lie to me, Martin. I saw it. And I know there's something sketchy about you. Why did you access the server room at 10 p.m.? And how did you know Alex's full name? Tell me who you are. I knew there was something familiar about you. Just tell me the truth." "Yes, it's me. Alex." He spoke hesitantly, then asked me to calm down, but I couldn't stand it. My heart stopped for a few beats. "How could you do this?" I screamed. "Did you and your uncle plan this all along?" "Lindsay, let me explain. I got plastic surgery, but it's not what you think. I'm on your side. I want to overthrow my uncle and get the company back for your family. Please believe me." Then Martin, or should I say Alex, told me the whole story. It turns out Mr. Garcia planned the whole thing to sabotage my family's business, and he took advantage of Alex to help do this. He, Mr. Garcia, even made up a story that there had been a feud between our two families, and that my dad had tried to bankrupt Alex's family, which pushed his parents to the brink of desperation. Of course, this made Alex angry, as he was protective of his family, and it nurtured in him a strong craving for revenge. But after helping his uncle take over my family's business, he discovered not only that Mr. Garcia wasn't his uncle, but that he, Alex, was also an orphan. Apparently, Mr. Garcia didn't have any biological relation to Alex, nor did he know anything about Alex's late parents. That spiteful man just manipulated people in any way to his advantage. Alex was disgusted that he'd been used and lied to like this, so he set out to get revenge on his so-called uncle by changing his identity and bringing everything to light to give justice to my family. He then showed me everything he got from the secret files. All the dirty tricks Mr. Garcia had used to sabotage and take over the company. He'd even been leading the company down a dark path through lots of illegal antics. But then Alex told me that before becoming Martin, he'd bought a number of shares, and now he would transfer them to me so I could take back my family's company. I couldn't believe it. I immediately showed all the evidence to the board of directors, and right away, everything was resolved. Finally, Mr. Garcia was not only kicked out of the company, but he was also sent to prison for his unethical business practices. And it was all thanks to Alex. The person I'd held a grudge against the most had been the one to help me get back all that was lost. As for Alex and I, well, it's clear we still have feelings for each other, but after everything we've been through, I think it's best if we give it some time before we jump back into a relationship. Plus, Tom admitted he likes me, which of course was obvious, but I don't want to upset him. Only time will tell if Alex and I are meant to be. Hi guys, it's me, Claire. So tomorrow is going to be super exciting. I'm putting my life in your hands, literally, as I'm going to be doing a My Instagram Followers Control My Day video. Yay! Most influencers do this with options, but I trust you guys, so go wild. Just visit my Instagram, like this video, and comment on whatever you want me to do tomorrow. The comments with the most likes will be chosen. And don't forget to follow me to stay updated. As you can see, I'm Claire, and I'm a beauty influencer on Instagram. Of course, with this pretty face and eye for style, I already have loads of followers. But for someone who was born to be famous like me, that's not enough. That's why I'm doing this viral challenge. It'll get me tens of thousands of likes. Okay, that's it for today. Now I better get my beauty sleep. Gotta have glowing skin tomorrow. The first thing to do in the morning was to check my Instagram. 20,000 likes from my post last night. That's average. Let's see. I asked my followers to decide what I should wear and what I should eat for breakfast. And the most liked comments were about Y2K style and avocado toast. My favorite dish anyway. Easy peasy. I called the maid to prepare breakfast while I did my skincare routine. Then I made sure I took a cute selfie and uploaded it to my story. What a good start. Am I the cutest girl on earth or what? Okay, now I have to make a very difficult decision. Which bag best complements my outfit? This one or this one? I was still trying to decide when my phone rang. Ugh, that's Liam, my boyfriend. It's so early, yet he's already sent me a ton of messages. What are you doing? Why didn't you reply to any of my texts? Hurry up if you don't want to be late for school. All right, I'm coming. Jeez, why does he have to be so stressy? It doesn't matter if we're a little late. I mean, come on, it's only school. After choosing the right bag, I got into Liam's car. He frowned at me and asked me what took so long. I was busy taking selfies, I replied, and posted a mirror selfie I took earlier on my Instagram with the caption, Y2K style for today. What should I do at school this morning? At break time, I was sitting in the cafeteria with Liam and my bestie, Tori. As usual, my beauty was attracting attention. All eyes were on me, and one guy even gushed out, "You're so pretty, Claire." I checked my Instagram to see how my newly posted pic was doing. Oh, it already had 50,000 likes. That's good, but I know with my charisma, I can do even better. But, huh? What's this? The most liked comment on the post wants me to go to the school library and scream, "I hate studying, and the library is the most boring place on earth." What kind of request is this? Don't do it. I don't have a good feeling about this. It could be from someone who's trying to sabotage you. Liam has a point. This could just be a trick that Isabella, my rival at school, devised to embarrass me. She's also an influencer on Instagram, but she just copies everything I do. Her Instagram is 5,000 followers less than mine. Yawn. But Claire, how are you going to explain to your followers if you bail out? I don't think they'd be happy about it. Right. I'm doing a challenge, aren't I? Can't stop after only 2 comments, especially because one from anti-fan. Besides, this is no big deal, right? Who even goes to the library anymore? So I dragged Liam and Tori to the library. As you know, I need them to film me. Huh? Why was it so ridiculously busy in here? Since when did people actually want to study? I needed to get this over with, so breaking through the silence, I shouted, "I hate studying, and the library is the most boring place on earth." All eyes instantly fell on me, and I heard tuts and grunts. Then someone said,
What the hell are you doing?
"Ugh, why is everyone in here so serious?" I just shrugged and walked away. At least Liam and Tori had captured me at my best angle. To my surprise, that video gained me a load of views and likes, and I even earned nearly 1,000 more followers. Who would have thought that such a silly act would get so popular? At that moment, Isabella walked past me. Only brainless people would scream in the library. Huh, look who's jealous now. Hey, you might as well try that. Maybe you'll get half of my followers. Isabella looks like she's about to explode with anger. But then she sneered and said, "Let's see if you're still laughing after you see what you've got to do next." Huh? What is she on about? I immediately opened my Insta to check. What? The top comment this time was from Isabella. She wants me to put a trash bag on my head and go to the mall. Ew, trash bag? I spent an hour styling my hair this morning. Isabella, you wicked witch. But, okay. If she wants to play, I'll prove to her that she's messing with the wrong person. Just like last time, Liam tried to talk me out of it.
This is nonsense, Claire. Don't lower yourself to this level just for a few likes.
I told him he was overreacting, and that I wasn't going to let my followers down by bottling out of it. This seemed to annoy him, and he stormed off. So who's going to take videos for me? I called out, but Liam just kept walking. Why can't he just support me like usual? Luckily, I still had Tori, and she agreed to film it for me. That's what best friends are for. Okay, this is more embarrassing than I thought. People keep staring at me like I'm an alien. I gave them a "what are you looking at" stare, prompting them to quickly turn away. No, I have to act confidently for the video to get more likes. Looking over, I saw Tori cheering me on, so I took a deep breath, stood up straight, and did my best catwalk strut through the mall. My heart was pounding like crazy, even after we walked out of the mall. Phew, it was finally over. I then quickly opened up my Insta, uploaded the video I just shot, then texted Liam asking where he was. After that, Tori and I got in a taxi to his house. Liam was already waiting for me at the door, looking all serious when I got there. So I told Tori to wait in the taxi. Then angrily I shouted as I walked over to him, "You could have at least come and supported me. Do you know how upset I was when you just left like that?"
I wasn't comfortable filming you make a fool of yourself. I care about you too much.
It's just a bit of harmless fun. Why can't you understand how important being an influencer is to me? I don't think I can be with someone who doesn't support me and my passion anymore. We should break up. Then I just walked away, not giving Liam a chance to explain. He quickly ran over and grabbed my hand.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we talk it out?
It worked. I gestured to Tori, then turned around with a big smile at Liam. Can you believe the followers want me to test your love by pretending to break up with you? I'll show them how much you love me. But then, unexpectedly, Liam angrily shouted,
What? So, I'm just another tool to get likes for your Instagram? If you want to break up, then fine. We're done.
Then he stormed into his house and slammed the door. I stood there open-mouthed. How could he break up with me? In the whole 2 years we've been together, I've never seen him this mad. I'll let him chill for a bit and talk to him tomorrow. He'll have calmed down by then. Right? Look, Claire! Your shopping mall video has already reached 100,000 likes! Oh my god, what is this? People are going crazy for my videos. They say I'm so confident, wearing a trash bag and still looking stylish. I look like Kendall Jenner. And my followers also increased by 5,000 people. At least this is worth the effort I put in. The next morning, I waited for Liam to pick me up. But he never arrived. When I got to school, I tracked him down and asked if he was still mad at me.
You're so addicted to social media. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Then he walked off. At that exact moment, Isabella walked towards me. Wait, why is Tori with her? Hey, loser, you're in so much trouble. What does that mean? I looked at Tori in confusion, but she just lowered her head and quickly followed Isabella. Feeling something was wrong, I immediately opened Instagram and... oh my god. What are these comments? Such an attention seeker. She's willing to do anything just for some likes. I heard that her boyfriend broke up with her. No surprises there. What is this? I did all these things at their requests, and now I'm the one receiving all the hate? Suddenly, the principal announced via the loudspeaker that I had to go to his office. As I walked in, I saw my parents sitting there. Turns out news of what I did at the library had spread. But not only that, someone even accused me of stealing from the shopping mall. Huh? I didn't steal anything. To prove my innocence, I gave the principal my bag to check. And he pulled out a brand new necklace. Why is this thing in my bag? I tried explaining myself, but no one would listen. I was suspended for a week. The walkout of the principal's office was the worst thing ever. Everyone was giving me judging looks and whispering to each other. On the way home, I took a teary selfie, then posted it on Instagram with the caption, "Consequences of yesterday's challenge. 1 week suspension." Someone put the blame on me. Once home, my ashamed-looking parents immediately took my phone away and even disconnected the Wi-Fi. Ugh! My life was over. I ran up to my room in a huff and flopped down onto my bed. Suddenly, my eyes crossed a photo I took with Liam on my birthday last year. That's when Liam threw me a surprise party, and he even made me a cute birthday cake. Come to think of it, I was a bit too harsh with him yesterday. He was only trying to protect me. If I'd listened to him, I wouldn't have all these hate comments and be stuck home for a week. I hurt Liam just to gain more followers. How could I be so stupid? I wished I could apologize to him right now, but... Then to my surprise, after just 3 days, my mom told me I was allowed back to school. There were still mutters about me, but that didn't matter, as Liam was waiting for me at my locker. I hurried over to him, apologized, and explained everything. "Claire, I know you're the sweetest, most loving girl. You just got carried away with your frivolous Instagram popularity. Besides, I know you're not a thief." Then Liam told me that out of suspicion, he asked to check different CCTV at the shopping mall, and discovered that it was Tori who dropped the necklace box into my bag. Turns out, she was only hanging out with me because I was famous and rich. So when Isabella paid her, she turned 180 degrees, running after Isabella and playing tricks on me. Liam reported this to the principal, and now both of them have been suspended. That's it. Chasing after popularity on the internet didn't bring me any real friends, but only virtual fans, and a fake friend, sadly. I got blindsided by the likes and followers, and overlooked what was truly important, my real-life relationships and the people who genuinely care for me. After that incident, I decided to deactivate my Instagram account for a while, at least until I feel stable again. And even if I lose all my followers, I don't really mind anymore, because right now, I'm spending time with those who really matter to me.
I was so nervous. Like, the most nervous I'd ever been in my life. I didn't even know it was possible for a press conference to get so crowded. Suddenly, the flashes came at me from every direction. It was almost blinding, but the clicking didn't stop, as well as the sound of them calling my name. "Hazel, look here! Here, over here, Hazel!" Oh my gosh, why was this so chaotic? I started to panic, so I ran away. But I'd only taken a few steps before thump! Oh, these stupid high heels. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Well, let's be real, it's kind of hard to see anyone from this angle. Then from every direction, the reporters swarmed in like starving vultures, trying to take pictures of me. I was still confused and didn't know what to do when... "Gentlemen, please give her some space. Are you okay?" Robert, my adoptive dad, came to help me up. Excuse us, this is her first time attending such a crowded event. If it's all right with you, We'll help her answer your questions. Phew, I'd finally escaped the chaos. Or so I thought. As soon as he got into the house, Robert shouted, "Pamela!" which gave me the fright of my life. Didn't I tell you to teach Hazel some manners? How could you let her embarrass herself in front of the public like that? Pamela looked mortified and kept bowing down and apologizing, but Robert was still furious. If this happens again, you better pack your bags and get out of here. I felt so guilty. It was all because of me that she had been shouted at like that. But I'd done my best. Clearly it wasn't good enough, though. I tried to forget about it, but early the next morning, Pamela woke me up. She gave me a timetable and told me that from now on, I wouldn't need to go to school anymore, and that a tutor would come to teach me at home instead. What? Why all of a sudden? I asked Pamela in shock. It was because of yesterday's incident. The mayor has decided that you need to spend more time learning the necessary etiquette. Are you serious? He can't just keep me locked up here. No way. Hazel, listen. You should be grateful that you got adopted into this house. Keep in mind of everything Mr. Cornelius has done for you and obediently do as I say. Do you understand what I mean? Looking into Pamela's eyes, I knew I had no choice but to agree. The day of the opening ceremony for the town hall had finally arrived, and I got to leave the house for the first time in a month. A whole month. Now was the moment of truth. In the eyes of the public, I had completely transformed into a proper, prestigious lady. When Robert started speaking at the ceremony, he announced a charity fundraiser for my orphanage, in the hopes that children like me would be given a chance to live a better life. Hearing this speech, I could barely hold back my tears. I was sitting next to my adoptive mom, Eleanor, so I turned to give her a big hug. Suddenly, all eyes were on me, and it seemed I'd finally done something right. I smiled up at Robert, and we both had tears in our eyes. Maybe Pamela was right. I really was lucky to have been adopted by such kind people. But as soon as we got home, things changed. My parents got all quiet and went off to their room, leaving me alone. Where was my praise? I'd done so well, hadn't I? Why weren't they happy? The following days, they still asked me to join them for their events, so I guess I must have done a good job. And while the media and public were around, they were all touchy-feely and affectionate towards me, constantly praising me. We must have looked like the perfect family. But the minute we got home, they'd ignore me, and if they wanted to tell me something, they'd get Pamela to speak to me. It was so flipping weird. I actually started to feel quite lonely and depressed. And even though I was living in the lap of luxury, I missed the orphanage. One day, Pamela's daughter, aka the only friend I had in this enormous mansion, Paisley, saw how upset I was and asked, "Hey, so why do you agree to move into this house? You're clearly unhappy here." Paisley got me. She was the same age as me, so we were on the same wavelength. I was nervous to tell her how I felt, but I knew she would understand, so I told her everything. The thing is, I actually have a sister. She's only 8, and she's called Amber. That's why I was missing the orphanage. She was still there. She's got congenital heart disease, so after our parents passed away, the orphanage couldn't afford her hospital bills. When the mayor's family decided to adopt me, I refused because I didn't want to leave Amber alone. But then Robert offered to pay for her medical treatments if I agreed, and well, the rest is history. You see, I can't just leave. If I did, what would happen to Amber? Oh, Hazel, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. But I need to be honest with you. One time I overheard Robert and Eleanor saying that you were the perfect girl to play this role. Huh? What role? That meant, were they using me for something? It didn't make any sense, but those words kept lingering on my mind until... One time, Eleanor asked me to join her at a charity event, which she said was going to be broadcast on TV. Our job was to prepare homemade food and give it out to the homeless. I was so excited, but when I walked into our kitchen, I discovered the chefs had already cooked everything before the filming crew arrived. I was so disappointed and asked Eleanor about it. She just laughed and said, "Oh, no, sweetie, our job is just to look pretty and graceful in front of the camera." Then before distributing the food, she gave me a pair of gloves and said, "Don't touch any of their hands, okay? They are filthy." Oh my gosh, how could she say such things? Oh, then it hit me. I understood what Paisley had said now. The affection and kindness that the Corneliuses were showing me was actually just for show. All to win over the audience, aka the public, while this was their very true face. I had to do something about this. I couldn't let them keep on deceiving the public like this. So when Eleanor went to the bathroom and took off her gloves, I quickly grabbed them and threw them in the trash. When we went back out, a homeless man approached her to express his gratitude and asked for a handshake. Of course, she tried to refuse, but at that moment the camera turned to her, so she had no choice but to give in. And you know what? The man didn't just shake her hand. He even pulled Eleanor in for a big hug. I couldn't hold back my laughter at how flustered she looked. Served her right. Afterward, Eleanor grabbed my arm and dragged me to a quiet corner. Then she said, "It was you who did this, wasn't it?" I pretended to have no idea what she was talking about, and this just infuriated her even more. Then later that evening when we got home, Robert was already waiting and shouted at me, "What do you think you're playing at?" I was confused, but then Eleanor added, "Don't you ever mess with me like that again." Now listen closely. Don't you miss your little sis? Aren't you curious if she's doing okay or not? That's right. You better have behaved yourself from now on, young lady. I was so shaken by what they'd said. I didn't even want to leave my room. What if something happened to my sister? Then suddenly, Paisley climbed through my window into my room. As soon as I saw her, I burst into tears. "Paisley, please help me with this. I need you to go to my orphanage and check on Amber and see if she's okay." A few hours later, Paisley came back panting. "Your sister? She's not doing good." "What? But hadn't she been receiving money for her monthly treatments?" Paisley shook her head. "The nuns there said they hadn't received a penny since you left. Now Amber is barely surviving." Paisley's words broke my heart. Those two had been fooling me all this time, and now my sister's life was hanging on by a thread. I had to get to the bottom of this. I walked past Robert's office, and that's when I overheard someone talking. Curious, I peeked in and saw a group of middle-aged men sitting around a table. One of them spoke up. "Hey, Robert, the election day is coming. Is that little girl still doing a decent job?" "Oh, don't worry about her. She's just a silly little kid. She believes anything I tell her, especially about her sick sister," Robert smirked. How dare he speak about my sister like that? I had to do something. I couldn't let this vicious man keep on fooling everyone like he'd done to me. So I took out my phone and started filming. "Speaking of which, how much charity money have we got so far?" $100,000, Robert said, and the room was filled with praise. "Gentlemen, by the time of the closing party for the charity this weekend, we should have almost $500,000 for the election campaign. As soon as I win, your business will continue to be tax reduced for the next 4 years." I had to cover my mouth to stop myself from gasping. So this whole time, he'd been exploiting me and the orphanage for his corruption? Gosh, I was such an idiot to fall right into his trap. Suddenly my phone buzzed. "Who's there?" Robert shouted and rushed to the door. Oh no! Panicked, I ran, but not far enough before I tripped and the phone flew out of my hand. Robert and his men caught up with me, picked up my phone, and deleted all my evidence. They even took the phone away from me. He turned to me and said, "I've already warned you, have I not?" "You're a liar," I yelled. "You haven't paid a penny to my sister," Robert growled. "Who told you that?" But all he had for an answer was my silence and fuming look. Furious, he dragged me back to my room. "Maid, bring me the keys to her room." And then he locked me up inside until the day of the closing party of the charity rolled around, where they'd be announcing the amount of money they'd collected. That day, all the staff were out of the mansion. Suddenly, I heard the door being unlocked. Panicked, I hid behind the closet. "Hazel, where are you?" Oh, it was just Paisley. She found a way to sneak me out of the mansion and told me to run straight back to the orphanage. But no, first I had to expose that sly old fox Robert. Luckily, when I got to the event, Robert was giving his speech. I immediately ran up to the stage, snatched the mic, and told everyone about his evil plan. But I was no match for him. Before I could finish, security was dragging me off the stage, and Robert had already taken control of the situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for my daughter's behavior. The reason why we decided to adopt her was that she's mentally ill. Since she came to our home, she has become better, but as you can see, there's been a bit of a relapse." What a snake! This jerk would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. Just then, the big screen on stage suddenly showed the video I'd taken, revealing all the schemes of Robert and his accomplices. Now he was well and truly exposed. I watched as he stammered. No, this can't be happening." Right at that moment, the police rushed in to arrest Robert and his accomplices in the stands. You might be wondering how we pulled that off. Well, As I was running through the hallway, I managed to send the video to Paisley. As soon as she received it, she came to find me and saw everything that had happened. So she secretly ran to her mom for help. Pamela then made a plan. While Paisley freed me from the mansion, Pamela set to work on projecting the video on the big screen. Genius, right? A month later, Robert and his accomplices were arrested for embezzlement. And, of course, he got locked up for a long, long time. Both him and Eleanor received such massive backlash from the public, to the point that she had to stay hidden away too. The charity money, luckily, was brought back to the orphanage, and part of it was used to take care of my sister Amber. She's doing much better now. Oh, and Paisley and I are still best of friends. Pamela has found a way better job. And as for me, I went back to stay at the orphanage until I'm old enough to move out. I'm better off being on my own with my sister than being adopted by some mess.
Admit it. Come on. You took my necklace, didn't you? Mindy looked at us and shook her head. She was sweating. Well, there are only 3 of us in this house, and if Andy didn't take it, then obviously it was you. Seriously, Cass, you got to believe me, I didn't take it. But clearly she was lying, because when I rummaged through her bag, Cass's necklace was right there. Cass told her to get out of her house, and Mindy burst into tears. Poor Mindy. I really wanted to stop Cass, but she seriously hates people touching her stuff, so I just kept quiet. You see, Cass and I are pretty much joint at the hip. We've always lived in the same neighborhood, so we grew up together and shared everything. Well, almost everything. Except one little secret that would probably ruin our friendship forever if she found out about it. Auntie, what are you doing? I started to stammer. This is so cute. Honestly, I'm so upset about Mindy. I can't believe she'd do something like that. I smiled, not knowing what to say. I mean, it was me who'd exposed her. Suddenly, I felt so guilty. Right at that moment, we got to the checkout. Cass took everything out of the cart to give to the cashier. Hang on, she exclaimed. What is this? This item has the barcode ripped off. The cashier made a fuss for a while and even called the manager. Cass and I stood there for ages trying to figure out what was going on. Cass even started crying, thinking she'd be accused of shoplifting. After about 30 minutes, the store manager came and told us we could leave. They kept the items that had no barcodes and sent us on our way. Phew, that was close. What? What do you mean? Oh, nothing. I'm just relieved that we didn't get into any trouble. Just so you know, though, that wasn't the first time we got ourselves into an awkward situation while out shopping. Sometimes it was the torn barcodes, sometimes the tags were missing, then the security alarm would always go off at the door. And all of these situations weren't just coincidences. Okay, I gotta be honest here. The thing is, I have a habit of pilfering. Not because I can't afford stuff. I mean, my dad's the owner of a bank, so money isn't the issue. My dad basically buys me the latest phone every month. And you should see my wardrobe. I have all the designer bags. I steal because it gives me the kind of thrill that my boring daily life just can't give me. My dad just hands me money every day and never stops to think that maybe I'd like a hug or a how are you ever since my mom left when I was just a baby. He's been using money as a way to keep the peace. So one day when I was in elementary school, I stole a hairpin from the girl who sat next to me. It felt so good, like my own little secret. I loved the drama that came with it, and the fact that no one ever suspected me because I was such a rich little girl. After the hairpin, I got addicted to stealing little things and couldn't stop. It felt like the only thing I could control in my life, and so I kept on doing it. And here I am now, still getting a buzz from it every single time. And yep, you've guessed it. The one who took the necklace at Cass's sleepover was none other than me, of course. But at that time, because I was so scared, I slipped the necklace into Mindy's bag and pretended to find it there. I was deep in thought when suddenly Alex's scream startled me. Guys, I've lost my unicorn pen. You know the pen that glows? The whole class was suddenly in uproar. Some friends were trying to look for it. Meanwhile, Alex was walking straight towards me. Andrea must have taken it. This morning when I took out the pen, me and her were the only ones in here. I looked up at Alex, my heart pounding in my chest. This is it. I'm so done this time. Then I suddenly looked over at Scott Parker, the cute boy who just transferred to our class. Oh no, I couldn't give him a bad impression of me. I had to quickly think of a way out of this. You waited until I went to the bathroom to take it, didn't you? Alex, I'd never do such a thing. Besides, I have loads of nice pens. In fact, you can have one if you'd like. I pulled out a beautiful pink rhinestone pen from my pencil case and handed it to Alex. While Alex stared in awe at my pen, I suggested everyone go check their lockers to see if her pen was there. Sure enough, right by the lockers was the glowing unicorn pen she'd lost, right in front of Scott. I picked up the pen and handed it to Alex. I'm so upset you thought I'd steal this from you, but it's okay. At least we found it. Alex blushed and apologized to me. Our other friends also blamed Alex for not looking for it carefully enough and for jumping to conclusions about me. Next time, don't be so silly. Andrea's a good person. Besides, her family is so wealthy. Why would she need to steal a pen from you? I just smiled and walked away. Suddenly, a voice called out from behind me. It was Scott. He looked at me and said, "Wow, that was totally dramatic. I'm Scott, by the way. You're Andrea, right? I'm sorry if this is a bit forward, but here's my number." Excuse me? Am I dreaming? Of course, I texted him as soon as I got home. He said he was so impressed with how I'd handled being blamed for the whole thing. Soon we were chatting every day, and eventually he asked me to be his girlfriend. I was so happy. But there was just one small problem. Ever since we'd started dating, I felt really ashamed about my bad habit of stealing things. I was determined to give it up, but it wasn't going to be easy. One day, Scott came to pick me up and asked if I wanted to go to the bookstore. A bookstore? No, I don't want to go there. Can we go somewhere else? Please? Seeing me panic like that, Scott looked puzzled. Then he suggested we go to his place to watch a movie, which I was fine with. Hopefully there would be no temptations for stealing there. A middle-aged woman opened the door for us at Scott's place. "Oh, this is Sandra, our maid." "Hi, Sandra. I'm Andrea." But instead of saying hi back, Sandra just stared at me in a seriously creepy way. It actually sent shivers down my spine. After watching the movie, Scott and his mom invited me to stay for dinner. Scott's mother, Mrs. Doris Parker, was really sweet, and we had some interesting chats. While waiting for dessert, I got up to go to the bathroom. But as I stepped out there, I almost bumped into Sandra. She was just standing there staring at me again. Sorry." She didn't say anything, but just kept staring at me in this weird way. Oh my gosh, why was she looking at me like that? The next morning at school, Scott told me his mother had just lost a valuable ring. She had a jewelry tray next to the bathroom sink, and after washing her hands, she'd forgotten to put her ring on. After dinner, the ring was no longer there. I comforted Scott, then made an excuse to go to the ladies' room. I needed to seriously think about this. Honestly, I'd tried my best to not get the urge to steal at Scott's place. But when I'd seen Doris's beautiful ring, no, I had to find a way to return it. No one could find out about this. And I had sworn to myself that I would never let this happen again. "Hello, Huh? Where's Sandra?" "Oh, she was fired. Mrs. Parker said Sandra had stolen her jewelry. Anyway, may I help you?" Oh no, I had to return this ring immediately. Poor Sandra. Scott came down for me and said he'd make dinner. I glanced through the window to find Doris was having tea in the garden. This was my chance. I snuck up to her room, quietly tiptoed in, and headed towards her jewelry box. Suddenly, the light came on. "Tell me, what on earth are you doing here?" I quickly turned around, dropping the ring to the floor. Mindy? Why are you here?" "I'm Scott's cousin. So it was you who stole the ring. I can't believe my cousin is dating you." Hearing the noise, Scott and his mom ran upstairs, while I was still dumbfounded and speechless. "It was you who stole Cass's necklace too, wasn't it? She won't even speak to me because of you." "I'm so sorry. I know it's not okay, but I couldn't stop myself. I've been feeling so guilty, so that's why I'm returning it." I was still kneeling on the ground when a hand reached out to me and helped me stand up. "I'll handle this. Come on, let's have a chat outside, shall we?" Turns out Mrs. Parker is a therapist. She could see I had a problem and offered to help me. I told her how guilty I'd been feeling about Sandra getting fired and asked Doris if she could call her for me so I could apologize. 30 minutes later, Sandra arrived. As soon as Doris saw her, she apologized and offered her the job back. But no, ma'am. I was the one who stole it, and I deserve to be punished. "I'm sorry. Sandra, I've already confessed to Mrs. Parker that I stole the ring. I didn't mean to get you fired. I just couldn't help it. You didn't do anything wrong. It was me? I was greedy? She is innocent." What on earth is going on? Obviously, I was the thief, so why was she defending me? Why are you doing this? Do we know each other, Sandra? And that's when the truth came pouring out. Sandra was my mom. Yeah, I don't know how this is possible either. So according to her words, she'd had a huge fight with my dad when I was a baby, and she'd fled to another city where she found a job working for Scott's family. When they moved to Seattle, she came with them. Even though she was nervous about returning back to where me and my dad were, she'd carried so much guilt about leaving us, and never in a million years did she expect to bump into me at Scott's house. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. I'd imagined this moment my whole life, and now here I was, standing face to face with her, and she'd even taken the blame for me. I couldn't believe it. Mom, I'm so sorry that I stole the ring. I can't believe you're really here. Sweetie, you don't need to apologize. I'm the one who will be apologizing for the rest of my life. Abandoning my daughter like that. What kind of mom am I? How will you ever forgive me? We stood there, hugging for what felt like forever, and I knew in that moment that I'd never steal again. Doris diagnosed me as having kleptomania due to a lack of love from my mom. But now that my mom was back, I had no reason to seek out those thrills from stealing. I had everything I needed right here. There were a few moments where I almost stole again, but Doris told me to call my mom as soon as I felt the urge, and when my mom picked up the phone and I heard her voice, the urge faded, and I felt so much better. Scott and Cass and Mindy forgave me after Doris sat them all down and explained more about my addiction and where it stemmed from. Now, Scott and I are still together, and I see my mom every day at Scott's place. My dad hasn't forgiven my mom for leaving yet, but baby steps. Finally, I feel like everything is complete, and my pilfering is a thing of the past.
I was on my way to Julia's house for a study sesh when out of nowhere, I found myself flying onto the ground. I was so stunned, I didn't even see the ball that had hit me, or the fact there was a cute guy rushing over to check if I was okay. He helped me up and apologized. Then he pulled a Band-Aid out of his bag. Oh my, who is he? I'd scraped my hand pretty badly, but I almost didn't mind because now I was face to face with a gorgeous guy. In fact, I was so busy staring at him and blushing that I didn't even notice Julia marching towards us.
What are you two doing?
Turns out the cute guy was Callum, Julia's boyfriend. Ugh, Julia. Of course. Every nice thing is always hers. I'm Jenny, by the way, and that lucky girl is Julia. She's the daughter of the richest guy in town, Mr. Walsh. We're supposed to be friends, but we honestly have nothing in common. I mean, my family is pretty poor. It's not our fault, though. My dad sadly passed away, and so it's just me and my mom trying to make ends meet. Julia, on the other hand, has a silver spoon shoved down her throat. But fate still brought us together. I know it's kind of wrong, but that night I couldn't stop thinking about Callum. He now, in fact, gave me motivation for the next study session with bossy Julia, as maybe he would be there again. I even put on makeup and skipping on the way to her house the next day. But, well, it was all for nothing, because Callum was nowhere to be seen. Instead, I had to sit and listen to Julia go on and on about her trip to Paris. I pretended that I was okay, but actually, I always dreamed of visiting the city of light and gazing up at the Eiffel Tower ever since watching Emily in Paris. Dream on, Jenny. Anyway, Julia was incessant. She loved making me look like a fool, and even said, "Aw, poor Jenny. Maybe one day you'll get to go to Paris. But until then, you can just look at all my photos." Honestly, why was she so cruel to me? Last year around my birthday, she'd even shown me a fashion magazine and asked me which dress I liked best. I thought she was buying gifts for me, but instead, she showed up at my party in the exact dress I pointed out. I couldn't believe it. She just winked at me and laughed, and I seriously wanted to scream at her. Anyway, after looking at about 1 billion Paris pics, Mr. Walsh appeared. He looked happy to see us sitting so close and studying together. If only he knew the truth. But I had to pretend I had a lot of fun with Julia and helping her study, at least for his sake. Mr. Walsh was a good friend of our family, and ever since my dad passed away, he'd been looking out for me, and was even paying my school fees. I couldn't let him down. But you know what? I actually started to get excited to go over to Julia's now, as the thought of bumping into Callum again gave me butterflies. I even got myself a new hairstyle, but he was never there, and I always left feeling disappointed. Then one time, after school, it started to rain dogs and cats, and I had to run for it. Then suddenly I felt an umbrella over my head. Guess what? It was Callum coming to the rescue. It was like something out of a romantic movie. He even offered me a lift home. My heart was racing so hard I was afraid he'd hear it. I just sat there in silence, dripping rain all over his clean car. I even caught him looking over at me a few times, and my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. He pulled up at my house, so I was about to get out when he touched my arm and said,
Can I get your number?
I was confused. I mean, wasn't he Julia's boyfriend? He then explained that he was just hired to be her fake boyfriend so that all the flirty boys would get out of her way. Wow, I couldn't believe it. He asked me to keep it a secret, as Julia would end us both if this story got out. Okay, it all made sense now. That's why he never came over to her house. I felt so happy. Over the next few days, Callum and I chatted a lot on the phone, and then eventually he asked me out on a date. We went to the fun fair, and right away he held my hand. It made me feel so special, and I never wanted him to let go. We were having so much fun. Then a familiar voice pierced the air. Well, well, well. Isn't that my dear friend, Jenny? I felt dread rush through my whole body. We turned around, and there was Julia and her girl gang all standing there with their arms crossed. Callum dropped my hand and rushed to Julia's side.
It was all her, babe. You gotta see the messages she sent. She's been flirting with me for weeks. It's pathetic.
Whoa, was he for real?
A second ago, he was about to lean in for a kiss, and now he was bad-mouthing me? How could he be so two-faced? I tried to explain to Julia, but she wouldn't listen. She just called me a traitor in front of everyone, and told all her friends to lock up their boyfriends in case I try it on with one of theirs next. I was devastated. Everyone was staring at me and judging me. Ugh, if only I could vanish into thin air right now. And as I was thinking about where I could escape to, a guy appeared, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me away. It was Stefan, the guy who lived across the road from me. I didn't understand why he helped me, but I was so grateful that he did. He walked me home and tried to cheer me up by saying how his mom used to love our bakery so much, and that the carrot cake my mom made was his mom's fave. This made me smile, thinking back on all those happy times in our family bakery. When my dad had died, we'd had to sell it to pay off some debt, and life had become quite difficult. Luckily, Mr. Walsh was helping out, but after what just happened with Julia, I wasn't sure I'd be able to face him. The next day at school, everyone was staring at me. I couldn't even find a place to sit at lunch. What had I done? I'd ruined everything. And then it got worse. My phone beeped. It was Mr. Walsh. He said he was so disappointed in me and that I no longer needed to come and tutor his daughter. I wanted to cry, and at the same time, I felt so much relief. But then I read on, and he said,
I'm sorry, but I can't keep my promise anymore. I'll continue to subsidize your school fees, but you'll have to figure something out for college. Good luck.
My heart plummeted. Not only had I been shunned by everyone at school and backstabbed by Callum, but now the door to college was being slammed in my face too. What would I do? My life was over. I felt so sick. I just walked out of the canteen and went home. I didn't dare go to school over the next few days. I was miserable. And just when I'd given up all hope, there was a knock at my door. It was Callum. What was he doing here? He said he was sorry for what had happened and that he missed me so much. Then he asked me if I'd be interested in being his secret girlfriend. What in the world? I was so angry, I wanted to slam the door in his face. But he was fast enough to catch my hand, which took me aback. At that exact moment, Stefan happened to walk past. Seeing me standing there with Callum, his face changed and he immediately walked away. Oh, no. I definitely couldn't let him misunderstand anything about me anymore. He's the only friend I had left. I yanked my arm away from Callum and chased after Stefan. I finally caught up with him and blurted out how I'd been feeling like the whole world was against me and that I didn't know what to do. He told me to calm down, then we went to sit on a bench in the park, as he let me confide everything in him. By the time I finished talking, I was on the verge of tears. Then he said,
Listen, Jenny, you're better than this. Don't dim to fit in with those people at your school. Good people will see you for the real you. You're strong, and you can get through anything. I know you can.
He was right. I was better than this. I didn't need to sink as low as Julia and her friends, and I certainly didn't need to rely on Mr. Walsh's money. I'd figure this out by myself, like I always did. So I applied for a part-time job at a coffee shop. Earning my own money felt so good. Suddenly I felt free, and I knew everything was going to be okay. But then one day when I was working, Julia and her gang came in. They still weren't over what happened, and in front of everyone, they brought up what I'd done to humiliate me, and they even recorded it, and I couldn't stop shaking. This was too much. That's when I threw a cup of coffee all over Julia and ran out of there. Julia shouted after me that she was going to tell my mom everything I'd done. Without a doubt, Julia really did it. She even sent my mom photos of me and Callum at the fair. And well, my mom didn't take it well. I rushed home to try and explain after Mom yelled at me over the phone. But then I couldn't find Mom anywhere. I called her phone and a man answered. He said my mom was in a hospital after she fainted? Oh dear good God! I got to the hospital immediately and found out that she had collapsed from shock. But thankfully she was okay. She had to stay in the rest of the day to be monitored. So I went to get us both a cup of coffee. That's when I saw him. Callum. He was in the ward next door sitting with some girl. I almost dropped the coffee out of shock. They looked close. I waited until he'd left, and then I went to ask the girl if Callum was her boyfriend. Well, turns out they'd been dating for 2 years already. So he was triple cheating? The girl deserved to know the truth, so I took a deep breath and told her everything. She was so upset. We decided to get our own back. So the girl called Callum and asked him to come back. As soon as he arrived, we confronted him and got the truth once and for all. He was never Julia's real boyfriend. In fact, here's the shocking part. He was hired by Julia to pretend to date me and ruin my life. Apparently, she was jealous of how much attention her dad gave me since my dad had died, and that her dad constantly compared her to me. He kept apologizing to his girlfriend, saying how much he loved her, and that he only agreed to help Julia so that he could earn some money to help pay for her medical bills. I was stunned. Callum was so apologetic and said he'd come clean about everything. He posted it on the school forum to clear my name, and to everyone to see the ugly truth about Julia. And of course, when Mr. Walsh saw it, he made her come and apologize to me. And he also apologized himself and offered to pay my college fees again. Do you think I accepted his offer? Of course not. I was standing on my own feet now, and there was no going back. I didn't need anyone's help. So you might be wondering how I could afford college. Surely not on my coffee shop salary, right? Well, after graduating high school, I realized how much I missed the bakery. That was where I truly felt happy. So I decided to study to become a pastry chef, and now my mom and I have opened a new bakery. I've never been happier. And there's one last thing I want to share. Oh, in fact, here he is. Hey, Stefan, I've made your mom's fave. Let's go surprise her. I couldn't stop smiling as Stefan took the carrot cake, kissed my cheek, and we headed for his car. Life is so much more simple now, and sweet, and I love it.
Yeah, here's another load of bills to add to the pile. Oh, hey, I'm Zoe, a recent graduate turned office worker with a lousy wage. I could barely afford to pay for food and rent, let alone think about my college debt. It wouldn't matter so much if it was just me, as I could live off of noodle soup. But I also had Birdie to think about, my little sister. Oh, she's back from school. Zoe, I found Daddy today! Huh? I looked at her with a wry smile. Actually, this was nothing new. You see, our parents died when Birdie was just a toddler, so now she longed to have parents just like her friends did. She often said to me, Zoe, you're like my mommy, but Clara and Polly have daddies too, and I want one. She was so innocent that whenever she saw a friendly-looking man on the street, she'd ask me, is that my daddy? Come on, come here. How was school today? Daddy is very handsome, and he lives in a big house. Come on, I'll take you to him. Oh, my lord. This wasn't a house. It was a mansion. Confused, I was about to question Birdie on this, but she started ringing the bell repeatedly. Before I could stop her, someone who appeared to be the butler came out and happily let us inside without questioning anything. That's odd. I sipped on my iced tea and peered around at the grandness of the place, absorbing the rich energy, when suddenly, a very dashing guy walked over. There he is! That's Daddy! Huh? This was so confusing, and seeing her hug a stranger was super embarrassing. I had a talk with the guy to figure out what happened, and apparently he's called Harry, and he's 22 like me. Huh? That's crazy, as he looks and acts way older. As for the dad story, it turns out as Birdie was waiting for the school bus, she saw a woman drop her purse. So she rushed over and picked it up and was about to return it, but the woman turned around, saw Birdie holding it, and accused her of being a thief. Just in time, Harry appeared and claimed to be her father to settle the matter. Then he took her to the mansion and showed her around. So that's what happened. Ugh, my sister.
Birdie has told me everything. She's such a precious child. I'd happily adopt her.
No way!
Why not? You like being here, don't you, Birdie?
Zoe, I really like it here. I can play with Oreo as much as I want. And now, I have a daddy just like Clara and Polly do.
But I can't just leave her alone. Of course not. You can stay with Birdie.
What? How come such a good person suddenly fell from the sky? Skeptical, I told Harry I needed more time to think. He smiled and handed me his business card and told me to call him any time. What is this? Harry Atkins, the eldest son of the chairman of ATLAC Corp? Unbelievable! His name was all over the internet as a rich and educated young man. If that was the case, then surely this had to be legit, right? I can't afford to pay these. My sister and I deserve better than this life. Besides, it would be nice to have a place to stay for free, right? So the next day, I went to see Harry and offered to help with the housework as payment. Harry agreed and presented a prepared contract. Contract? Okay. But there was a clause in it that required me not to mention that I was Birdie's sister. This was a little odd, but never mind. It didn't matter. Here was to our new luxurious life. Wait, but does that mean I also have to call him Dad? So, yeah, my new life began. And oh boy, it was crazy. A maid brought me breakfast in bed and did all my laundry. So much for helping out with household chores. There are actually more servants in this house than the number of staff in my office. So it's obvious that there's nothing left for me to do. Even so, I wanted to be useful, because hearing them calling me Miss made me feel quite embarrassed. However, oops, turns out I suck at house chores. Once I put Harry's fine suit in the washing machine and ended up ruining it, which made him pace up and down the room in anger. Also, he couldn't seem to say anything nice about me, always complaining about the flowers I bought or saying the muffins I spent hours baking were too chewy. He threw away all of my handmade stuff because he thought it was garbage. What a rude man! Oh, wait, he's not even a man. He's just a stubborn kid who doesn't care about other people's feelings. I tell ya, if it weren't for Birdie and that contract, I'd... Phew! But those are just small gripes. In general, our life here was great. Birdie is very happy, and seeing her living her best life makes me smile. But unbeknown to me, turns out this was the calm before the hurricane. Hurricane Rachel! Harry's betrothed fiancée since childhood. She's from a rich family and is therefore deemed a suitable marriage alliance to Harry's family. I overheard the servants in the house saying that Harry is the successor to the company. So when he marries Rachel, the company will be even more flourishing. As soon as she saw me, Rachel kept asking Harry, "Hey, who is this? Why is she here? And this girl too? Why is there a kid in the house? Who is this scary lady?" Hearing that, Rachel looked at me from head to toe and then started firing questions at me. "Why are you here? How do you know Harry? When are you leaving?" "Enough!" What a relief. Harry intervened just in time, then dragged her into the reading room. Rachel followed Harry, but didn't forget to wrap her arms around his neck as she peered at me with a smug look on her face. Huh? What does she mean by that? Ugh, is she jealous? If that's the case, then she's wasting her time, because it is true that I have a crush on someone, but it's not Harry. You see, the other week I was wandering home from the grocery store when I met the love of my life. My shopping bag split, and my soda, cookies, and potato chips tumbled out. I was trying to pick everything up without getting run over, when suddenly a guy appeared and helped me. Then he drove me home. His name's Marcus, and he's so hot. After that, we exchanged numbers, and have been texting ever since. Marcus is so easy to talk to, so I confided in him about everything, from Birdie being adopted to the fact that I'm now working as a housekeeper. He's so sweet and kind, and I feel like I can tell him anything. He's the prince of my dreams. Anyway, my strange life in the mansion continued. One thing's for sure, Harry was great with Birdie. For her birthday, he surprised her with a trip to the amusement park. I have to admit, we had a lot of fun together. Birdie made us go on the carousel 5 times. Then we got ice cream. Suddenly, I noticed Harry giving me this odd look. What?
You have some ice cream on your lips. Here.
He leaned forward and gently dabbed it away with a napkin. Just then, a crowd rushed in, and Harry reached out and pulled me and Bertie closer to him. Our eyes met, and... Huh? Why did I have goosebumps and a pounding heart? What did that mean? Did he do that intentionally or not? Why did I have this strange feeling? While I was still sinking deep in my thoughts, Harry stopped the car and said he needed to pass by his brother's place for some files. Huh? Isn't that... Marcus? Marcus? I blurted out.
You two know each other?
I didn't answer. Instead, I turned my attention to Bertie. When we got home, I kept wondering why Marcus never told me who he was. I texted him to ask, and he replied that they don't get along, so he didn't want me to know. Despite all that, I stayed up all night thinking about Marcus. And also Harry. It's safe to say I was confused about everything. Then, Marcus and Rachel suddenly showed up at Harry's house one day with a load of groceries. Rachel announced that she was baking a cake, as it's soon going to be her birthday, and we should all assist. Okay, weird, but whatever. I was preparing the mixture when Marcus took my stirring hand and insisted on helping me. Suddenly, Harry burst in between us. Upon seeing this, Rachel yanked on his arm and pulled him away. My eyes widened in horror as I saw the mixture fly into the air and slow-mo splatter all over us. We stood there covered in cake mixture as we all exchanged dirty looks. Okay, so after that little display, I think it's clear to say that Harry has feelings for me. Later on, when Marcus and Rachel had left, and I was freshly showered, Harry knocked on my door and, smiling at me, said,
Zoe, there's a family dinner tomorrow where you'll get to meet my parents. Don't worry, you won't have to say anything. As a way of saying thanks, I'll pay off your college debts.
Okay, so that was weird, but at this point, I'd learned not to question it anymore. Besides, it would be so nice to be debt-free, and it was just dinner, right?
I want to break off the engagement with Rachel. This is my girlfriend, and we already have a kid together.
What? I almost blurted out, but Harry squeezed my hand to stop me from saying anything, so I sat there with a dumbfounded look on my face. Right at that moment, Marcus and Rachel burst in.
Stop the act! Mom, Dad, this isn't his girlfriend, and that little girl is actually her sister.
She's just some poor maid. Yes, that's right. I've known all along. I'm the one who told Marcus to pretend to like you to get proof.
What is all this? Mom, Dad, I don't think a liar like him should be the heir of your company. I hope you rethink your decision.
I didn't understand. What's going on here? Girlfriend? My child who? The heir of what? I just knew one thing only, that I was fooled by both my crush and Harry. I felt like such an idiot. So I quickly grabbed Bertie, packed up all my stuff, then ran out of that mansion immediately. Poor innocent Bertie seemed so confused. She kept asking where her daddy was and why she couldn't stay with him. I took what was left of our savings to rent a small apartment for both of us. Life went back to normal. Final demand letters and all. This was our reality. I knew that now. The last 2 months were like a dream. It was time to wake up. But still, I felt a pang of sadness whenever I thought about how Harry had fooled me. I was snooping around online and saw an article about how Marcus had taken over the company, only to end up bankrupt due to his poor decision-making. As for Harry, well, he'd founded his own startup, and it seemed to be doing pretty well. But then, one sunny day, I was on my way to pick up Bertie from school when a familiar person walked alongside me.
Hey, it's a nice day, isn't it?
Harry? What do you want?
Look, I admit that at first, I was just using you to get out of my engagement with Rachel. But then, I want you and Bertie in my life. I love you, Zoe. Please come home with me.
Now what better way is there to spend a Saturday afternoon than lying on the couch watching a feel-good movie with lots of snacks? Ugh, I suppose I better get that. OMG. Who is this? He's the most gorgeous boy I've ever seen in my life. I stared at him in open-mouthed amazement, but then I saw him gazing back at me and realized I needed to say something. Hey, how may I help you?
Hi, I'm Jaden. My mom and I have just moved in next door.
Oh, in that case, welcome to the neighborhood. Jaden smiled as he held a box out to me. Was this a gift for me? Already? I took it from him and blushed out a thanks. I opened the box and saw that it was full of delicious-looking cookies.
My mom baked them. She finds that people tend to be far more welcoming when it involves cookies.
We chatted for a bit longer. Then he said he had to go and help his mom unpack. Aw, why did this moment have to end already? The next day at school, I couldn't wait to find my bestie Stella and tell her about my drop-dead gorgeous neighbor. But as it happens, she found me at my locker and immediately started gushing about this hot new boy. I needed to see how handsome this guy was. My chance came at lunchtime when Stella pointed over at the new boy who was currently being pestered by Anna, this stuck-up girl from class. I squinted my eyes. OMG! The hot new boy was none other than Jaden! I watched on as Anna fluttered her eyelashes at him, then flicked her hair behind her back. Ugh! She needed to give the flirting a break. It was so tragic. Suddenly, Jaden saw me, smiled, then hurried over to me.
Hi, Laura. Oh boy, am I glad to see you.
He leaned in close to my ear and whispered,
That girl is kind of freaking me out. Please, can we get out of here?
Then to my surprise, he took my hand and led me away. I could see the shocked look on Anna's face, and I couldn't help but smirk back at her. Ha! Take that, Anna! He's holding my hand, not yours. Then after school, Jaden and I walked home together. Turns out, as well as being the hottest guy on the planet, he was also really sweet and funny. Back home, I saw Jaden's mom, Cynthia, watering her window box. On seeing us, she waved us over, then insisted on inviting me inside for homemade lemonade. We all got on so well. Looks like I'm going to have a boyfriend soon, one whose mom loves me. From then onward, Jaden and I hung out lots. We had lunch together, we went to the library together, and always walked home together. I was pretty sure the girls at school were super jealous, especially Anna. One day, during PE, the teacher told us we were playing dodgeball and assorted us into two teams. Anna, who was on the opposite side, wouldn't quit aiming at me. I tried my best to dodge her throws, but bang! She got me! Now, listen to me. Guys like Jaden don't like ordinary girls like you. He's mine, so quit chasing him. Furious, I yelled, I'm not chasing him. He's already my boyfriend. Actually, not. Yet I was pretty sure Jaden liked me too. Just you wait. He'll soon tire of you and come running to me. Ugh! Anna was so annoying. I needed to get my frustrations off my chest, so I ranted to Stella about her. Forget Anna. No one likes her anyway. As for Jaden, it's obvious he likes you. He's just new here and probably feels too shy to ask you out. Yeah, you're probably right. He must just be shy. But, I know Anna won't quit chasing him. Then you should make your relationship with Jaden official. Stella had a point. If Jaden was too shy to ask me out, then maybe I should take the initiative. Then Anna would have no choice but to back off. Ha! Tonight was the night. So I texted Jaden, I need your help with something. Let's meet at 8 p.m. by the slide in the park. But then he messaged back saying he couldn't meet tonight as he had to help his mom with something. Right that moment, my dad arrived home earlier than usual and announced that he was taking me and my sister Megan out for dinner. Ooh, this restaurant looked nice. I walked in alongside Megan and... Huh? What were Jaden and his mom doing here? Then my dad walked over to Cynthia, kissed her on the cheek, and said,
Hello, honey.
Jaden and I shared astonished looks. Then we peered at the adults for an explanation.
Laura, Megan, this is Ms. Green, the lady I told you about.
What? I mean, I knew Dad was dating a woman named Ms. Green, but I had no idea she was Jaden's mom. Then, before we knew what was happening, Dad got down on one knee and pulled out this diamond ring, then asked her to marry him. And you know what? She said yes! Oh, no. No. They can't marry, 'cause then Jaden will be my brother. Megan looked delighted and hugged them both, while I stared at Jaden in bewilderment. Don't get me wrong, I really want my dad to be happy, but why her? And what about me and Jaden? After that, Cynthia seemed to always be at our house, baking cakes, humming while she dusted and cleaned up, and exchanging gooey looks with my dad. Ew. Then one day, she insisted that Megan and I went wedding dress shopping with her. She tried on this one dress, and yeah, okay, she looked pretty good in it. But when she asked me what I thought about it, I just shook my head and said, well, it's not very flattering, is it? She tried on several more dresses, but I managed to find fault with them all. Then, when I noticed how disheartened she looked, I patted her shoulder and said, don't worry, Cynthia. You can always postpone the wedding until you find a suitable dress. She looked a bit taken aback, but then she just smiled at me and said,
That's okay, Laura. I'm going to go with the first one.
ugh. Anyway, now the dress was chosen, so at least I could go home now, right? Wrong. As on the way home, we passed an arcade. Cynthia led us there and then excitedly challenged me to a game of air hockey. Then I said jokingly, fine, I'll play, but if you lose, you don't deserve to be my mother. And guess what? She won! Ugh! And worse still, Megan wouldn't quit giving me dirty looks for the comments I'd made. Jeez, I was just joking. What is wrong with you today? I plopped down on the couch and blurted out everything. She'd take my side, right? Turns out, no, she wouldn't. What? You and Jaden aren't even official. But Dad loves Cynthia. They both deserve happiness, so stop being a brat about it. Then she stormed off to her room. Ugh, I feel like I'm going crazy. I have huge feelings towards Jaden, and I know he feels the same. So why can't my sister be mature enough to understand that and support me? I needed to vent to someone. Luckily for me, I had Stella. Why does no one care about my feelings? I can't be Jaden's sister. Sorry, Laura. I don't know what to say. Suddenly, from the nearby table came a lousy voice. So that's the reason why Jaden has to hang out with you? You're pathetic, Laura. Turns out we were so lost in conversation, we didn't notice Anna and her flock sitting at the table behind us. Actually, we've been into each other for ages. It's not our fault our parents made some dumb decision. Anyway, whether we can be together or not, it doesn't change the fact that you bore him so much that he'd choose watching paint dry over being with you. How dare you? She was about to grab my hair, but right at that moment, a hand stopped her. It was Jaden. That afternoon, on our walk home, I finally came clean to Jaden. I like you a lot. I have always been since I first met you. I know you like me too, but you think it'll be awkward because our parents are getting married. Maybe if we just tell...
Laura, you're such a sweet girl, and I do like you, but just as a sister.
What? How could he say that to me? He had to like me, didn't he? Feeling an unexplainable amount of shame and embarrassment, I ran away from him. As I lay on my bed and rubbed my tear-stained eyes, all I could think about was how unfair this was. So, by the time Dad called me down for dinner, and I walked in and saw how happy he looked, my anger got the better of me and I yelled, I hate you, and I hate Cynthia! How dare you try and replace Mom? Then I rushed back to my room. You really upset Dad. You know that, right? I didn't answer. I was also upset, but no one seemed to care about my feelings. Dad said we come first, so if you really feel this strongly about it, then he'll cancel the wedding. To be honest, I'm real mad with you right now. So? What about me? You're so immature and selfish. I didn't understand how my own sister could be so uncaring, so I screamed out. So what? You don't care that Mom's being replaced by some fake woman? And what about me? Why does no one care how I feel? Oh my God, Laura, for once, this isn't about you. Megan rolled her eyes at me, then stormed off. Finally, everyone quit going on about the stupid wedding. But why didn't I feel good about this? Cynthia didn't seem to be coming round to our house anymore, and I noticed how Dad's cooking seemed to get worse and worse, until he stopped altogether and just ordered takeout. Meanwhile, Jaden wasn't anywhere to be seen at school. Stella asked around to find out where he was, and turns out he'd left, as he was moving back to his old town. No way! After school, I rushed straight over to his house and barged inside to find him and his mom packing. Are you moving away? Yeah. I moved here to settle down and start a new life with Randall, and this house is for Jaden's future. But the wedding's been cancelled, so I quickly asked Jaden if we could talk outside. My mom's cried so much. Randall's her soulmate, and she can't stay around her if she can't be with him anymore. The most annoying part is that she agrees with him that the kids must come first. So, I hope you're happy now? Oh my God, what have I done? His words were like a stab to my gut. Oh no, this was all my fault. I was so obsessed with Jaden that I didn't stop to think about what was best for everyone else. Without saying another word, I ran back home and burst into the kitchen where Dad was drearily staring into his iced coffee. Dad, you deserve to be happy with Cynthia. So please go and tell her how you feel before she leaves for good. But it was too late. Cynthia and Jaden had gone. Just kidding! Nah, actually, Dad managed to catch Cynthia just in time, and he told her how much he loves her and can't live without her. So, guess what? Yep, they got married, and now they're both happier than ever. I've learned the hard way that being selfish and inconsiderate of other people's feelings for my own gain just makes everyone miserable, including myself. So, now we're one big happy family. And I suppose having Jaden as a brother isn't actually so bad after all. I'm standing in the middle of the room wearing this extravagant dress and a glittery mask. All eyes are on me, but I can sense how ingenuine they are. This is supposed to be my sweet 16th, and yet all of these guests were complete strangers. Ugh, it's all that slimeball Gregory's fault. Actually, this OTT party was all down to him. Oh, hi, I'm Vivian, but my friends call me Viv. My mom, Jacqueline Mars, is one of the wealthiest people on Earth. So I grew up thinking massive mansions, gigantic pools, and a floor entirely for toys was the norm. Well, at least I did until I turned 10. That day I was playing in my life-size dollhouse when I heard talking coming from the other side of the fence. I peeked over it and saw a woman and a girl around my age who looked kinda weird. Curious, I spoke up. Hey you, why do you dress so funny? Pardon? What did you say? You don't even have shoes on. That's so silly. You're the silly one. Bet you've never tasted this before, huh? So try it. Spoiled rich kids like you always look down on others. While in fact, you're no use to society. I just stood there dumbfounded as the security shooed them away. I never meant to offend her. I was just curious. So I rushed inside the house to find Mom and ask her about this. Oh, honey, not anyone can be as wealthy as we are. That means you don't have to worry about a thing, sweet pea. Now go play so Mommy can work, okay? Even to this day, Mom's words still linger in my ears. I've grown to resent my family's wealth. I just wanted to be a normal kid. That's why, by the time I got to middle school, I convinced Mom to let me transfer from my private school to a public one and wipe out everything about me online, so no one would know about my influential family. I get the bus to school, buy clothes from thrift shops, and prepare my own lunch instead of bringing the gourmet dish the chefs make for me. A perfect normal life. Until Gregory, Mom's so-called boyfriend, showed up. He sticks his big nose in everything. Thanks to him, Mom wouldn't stop nagging at me about my clothing, my trashy public school, or how I gotta stop hanging out with the mediocre kids. Ugh, he is driving me insane. And to top it off, he gave Mom the idea of throwing me a 16th birthday party. I hate attention. Mom knows this. But what Gregory wants, Gregory gets.
This could be an opportunity to introduce her to society and gain new associates. It'd be good for her when she takes over business in the future. Blah, blah, blah.
Poof. Please. The only thing that man cares about is himself and his associates. Not mine. In the end, I agreed to a masquerade ball. On one condition. Mom has to stop interfering with who I should or shouldn't hang out with. Especially my friends at school. And that brings us to the present. Right when the host announces that it's time for... my first dance? Huh? My what now? Ugh. Gregory! I was confusedly looking around to find a partner when suddenly a hand grabbed me.
Birthday girl, come dance with me.
Ugh, what a creep. Let go! Can somebody help me with this? Suddenly a boy around my age appeared. Oh my. He has the most beautiful gray eyes I've ever seen.
Excuse me, sir. I believe the lady has agreed to have her first dance with me.
Thank you, handsome stranger. As we danced, I couldn't help but stare dreamily into those gorgeous eyes of his. We were about to leave the dance floor when he whispered in my ear.
Wait here. I'll be right back.
Who would have thought a superficial party like this would lead me to my perfect guy? Suddenly, I heard a snapping sound behind me, and as I turned around, my mask fell off. Oh no, a paparazzi cut my mask string. I tried to cover my face with my hands, but it was no use. Luckily, Mum rushed over and hid me behind her.
Sorry everyone, but the party's over. We had a great time and hope to see you all again soon.
Then she led me back to my room, while the security showed everyone the way out. From that moment on, my ordinary life ended for good. My face was plastered all over the internet as the billionaire Jacqueline Mars's daughter. Now everyone at school is looking at me funny. I don't get it, guys. I'm still the same old Viv. Oh, there my besties are. They would surely have my back, right? But nope. As I approached them, they went ballistic on me, saying how I don't trust them enough to confess about my actual background, so from now on we're no longer friends. This is so unfair. I never asked for any of this. I wipe away my tears, trying to act like nothing happened. Huh? What's this? There's a note lying on top of my books that says,
Hey, it's me, the guy from your birthday party. I'm so sorry for what happened to you. If you need anyone to talk to, text me anytime.
Oh, so he's from our school? Wow. Just when I thought no one's there for me, he showed up again. But there's no name, though. Is he still playing this mysterious game? Okay, I'll just call him my masked knight then. From that day on, we texted nonstop. He just gets me. My family situation, my friends, everything. One time, he even secretly slid a Blackpink concert ticket in my bag, since I once told him that I was their diehard fan. Another time, he sent me a gift card to my all-time favorite ice cream store, Ben & Jerry's, just to cheer me up on a bad day. Aww. This ice cream tastes delicious, but I can't help wishing the masked knight was here with me. All I know is he has the most beautiful gray eyes and gorgeous black hair. Oh, speak of the devil.
Hey, I have a surprise for you this Valentine's Day. Hope you're as excited to see me as I am to see you.
Finally, I get to meet the boy I'm crazy about. I can't wait. On Valentine's Day, I was in English staring out of the window and thinking about my masked knight. I wonder what he looks like.
Ladies, I brought your Valentine's roses. Here you go, Viv.
This is it. It's gotta be from him. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a taste of the rose, then come meet me at the pool. X. I quickly unwrapped the candy, popped it into my mouth, then rushed to meet my dream man. Well, where was he? As I tried calling him, the room started to spin. I saw the outline of a blurred black figure, then... Ugh. My head is killing me. Where am I? And whose hand am I holding? Hold on. Those eyes.
He must be. Thank goodness you're awake. Are you the one who danced with you at your birthday party? In the flesh. I'm Jeremiah, by the way. I had higher hopes for our first face-to-face meeting, but oh well.
Turns out, he always knew I went to the same school as him, but he was a bit intimidated by my family's influence, so he decided to get to know me via text first. He said the cops had found some sort of sleep-inducing substance in my rose candy. Before I could quiz him anymore on this, Mom barged into the room and hugged me. After making sure I was okay, she turned to Jeremiah and said,
You saved my daughter. For that, I can never thank you enough. Please join us for dinner tomorrow night.
Jeremiah seemed hesitant at first, but then he nodded in agreement.
The dinner did not go as planned. Between Mom's blatant interrogating and Gregory's menacing looks, I could sense Jeremiah's discomfort. Then when Jeremiah asked where the restroom was, Gregory insisted on showing him. When Jeremiah returned, he seemed flustered and made his excuses to leave. Grr. What had that annoying Gregory said to him? I quickly followed Jeremiah and apologized, but he just smiled and offered to pick me up for school tomorrow. The cops haven't found the culprit yet, so from now on, I'll be your guardian.
How sweet. After that, I hung out with him every day. Great, right? Only, somehow it didn't feel the same as when we were texting. Back then we had a deep connection. Now it was just like two friends hanging out. Oh, and not to mention Olivia, Jer's childhood friend who can't seem to leave him alone for more than 2 seconds. One time, Jer and I were at the movies together, but guess who coincidentally appeared and plonked herself down next to him? Yep, Olivia. Worse still, with their giggling and popcorn sharing, I felt like the third wheel. I was not having this again, so I just left for home in this random cab parked outside the theater. But bad luck. The driver doesn't know the way. He doesn't even have a phone, and I had to lend him mine for GPS. The guy snatched it out of my hand immediately. Rude. But wait, it was 9 p.m. already. Why did he still have shades on? And even wore a mask? Right then, I realized the car had passed the town's border. Stop! The car suddenly filled with smoke, and the last thing I thought was, he has eyes that were exactly like Jer's. I woke up finding myself in this old, cobwebby room. Where is this place? And that driver guy? I have to get out of here now. Right at that moment, he came into the room with a smile.
Don't you recognize me? Will you have another dance with me? 'Cause I'd love that.
What is happening right now? What he just said? Did that mean he's the actual masked knight? Maybe that's why I don't feel connected to Jeremiah. Why did Jer lie to me then? So many questions popped up in my head. Then suddenly I heard a car stop outside. That guy immediately went to check. This could be my chance of escaping. By the time I got downstairs, I saw the driver guy talking to Jeremiah. So I hid behind the door and watched on.
Cameron, just stop this. Getting revenge on our father is one thing, but this is a step too far. Take Viv back to her family now and end this. I know this looks bad, but trust me, I'd never hurt Viv. I didn't mean for her to fall into the pool. That's why I jumped in to save her. But I need her as bait to show the world what that jerk Gregory is like. He doesn't deserve to be her father.
I muzzled myself in shock. Gregory is their father? And that Cameron guy was the one saving me, not Jer?
Don't you forget who abandoned us when Mom had a close brush with death, then took all our business and properties, even our home, leaving us helpless? That jerk deserves all he gets.
I was trying to process it all when another car arrived, Gregory's. I quickly hid under the stairs before he walked in with a bunch of bodyguards.
Cameron, Jeremiah, my sons, haven't you grown up so fast? Cut to the chase. Give us back the business and what's rightfully ours. Then we'll let your stepdaughter go. Huh, indeed. Like father, like sons. Very smart. But still amateurs, my boys. You see, all that girl is to me is an obstacle blocking my way to the inheritance. So please, be my guest and take care of that little Miss Annoying.
Aren't you afraid we'll expose everything you just said?
And who's gonna believe you now? Jacqueline is mesmerized by me, so she'd believe anything I say.
That snake. How dare he speak of my mom like that? Unable to hold in my rage, I jumped out of my hiding spot and screamed at Gregory. "What did you say about my mom? You slimy, lying traitor!"
Nice talking to you all, but the fun has to end here. Goodbye.
The guards lunged forward, about to tie me up when the cops smashed the door coming in, and behind them was Mom!
Stop right there! How dare you do this to my daughter?
Gregory's face turned paler than a ghost as he mumbled out,
Jackie, honey, why you're here? But just in time to save our baby, Vivian. Cut the act. I already heard everything you said, and you're going to jail for a long time.
Then the cops led him and took his crook guards away. Seeing Mum, I was so happy I rushed to hug her. Turns out, her investigations of the pool incident led her to Cameron, so when she confronted him, he eventually told her everything. That's how they came up with a plan to catch Gregory red-handed. Mum and the cops had been waiting in ambush around here for Gregory to show up. Then, well, you know the rest. A lot has happened in 3 months. Mum finally finished all the legal stuff, so now the property Gregory had merged with hers to gain her trust is now signed back over to Cam and Jeremiah. I realized that being wealthy isn't a bad thing, especially as it means with influence like this, I can help other less fortunate people and really make a difference. Now I help Mum with her business and her charity work, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm proud of my hard-working, amazing Mum, and I'm proud of who I am. And guess what? I now have real friends who like me for me. As for Jeremiah, well, he apologized about everything. He used to fear his brother was going to hurt me, so he lied to protect me. We made up, of course, and became the best of friends. I'm not sure I can say the same about his brother, though. He did everything he could to beg for my forgiveness, but I just can't. Then one day, Jer asked me to come by his home to visit his mom. She begged me not to think badly of her boys, especially Cameron. He's in love with you, you know? He always talks about you, and how he wishes things would have been different. Oh boy, her words are starting to have an effect on me. When I walked out the door, I saw Cameron sitting on the porch. He turned and looked at me, and I felt my heart pound for my gray-eyed, masked knight. So, taking a deep breath, I walked over to him, just as the sun was setting.